Bowl pick was 50. I'm like, doesn't that kind of make it look like you don't know?
It does. Yeah, well, that's fine. I don't care. Whatever. Everyone suck it. Chiefs win.
And away we go, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Welcome in. It's Monday. It's Super Bowl hangover Monday. I don't have one. I was a responsible bleep you o'clock in the morning ariser this AM.
Were you? Because
I was up very late.
I don't want to point out the fact that I got here first, and I'm like, okay, that was my first thought. I apologize. I was wrong. I mean, here's what I thought is that you were at a party and you stayed up too late.
No, in fact, I left a party at halftime to go home because
look at you.
It was like 8:45. The party was like 30 minutes from the house. And I'm like, all right, here's my options. I stay here. I watch the end of the game, a game which, and nailed it. I said repeatedly, I would not be shocked to see go into overtime, a game that Lonzo and I both not only correctly predicted the winner, but correctly predicted the final margin of score and did so by a single point for both teams. We both went 24-21. Your final score, 25-22. Your Kansas City Chiefs are once again the champions of the world. And in case you doubted for just a second, if Rob Brown's master's degree in knowing ball held up, not only did I say overtime was a realistic possibility, not only did I say the final score line would be a 3-point margin in favor of the Kansas City Chiefs, nailed all of it, but also told you to hammer the under in this game, which was at 47.5. And I'm very bad at math. That's why all my jobs are wordsing jobs. But your final score of 25-22 slips you in at 47, which is, and again, this is statistically true, under 47.5 points. The ball knowing was through the roof last night. Just about everything got called right. The only things I missed on were Mahomes' passing yards, had a better game than I thought he would, even though he was, and this is true, Lonzo, running for his damn life last night.
Which he should have been if you look at that defensive lineup for San Francisco.
It's good. I called it.
I told stacked.
I told you. That defensive line was something, man. Was something.
When Nicky's flying at you, you gotta, panic might ensue.
Nicky! Hey, let me ask you a question. Let me ask all of you a question because I was blown away by this. I got on the social media last night at the conclusion of the Super Bowl. How could anyone just go to sleep after that game is beyond me.
Well, I did. I was pretty tired.
How? I was jacked, and that's not even my team. How in the world were you not sitting on a blood pressure that was through the roof?
I didn't get nervous till overtime. Once overtime happened, I'm like, okay, this could not work out for the Chiefs. There's this thing that I have that some other people have. It's called being old. So as an old, you can pretty much go to sleep when you're really tired, and the adrenaline left me really fast. So there's that.
I don't have that. I ended that game sitting in the bro cave, tablet of truth in hand, putting together today's show. And at the conclusion of that contest, I thought to myself,
my loins have been tingling.
It was unbelievable. So here's my question.
Yeah, you just had a colonoscopy. So it's
all right. That was like 4 months ago.
Yeah, no, that means you're good. So if they're tingling, it's all right.
My loins have been tingling.
And if you haven't had one, you should go out and do that after
Yeah, get it
the
done.
age of 40. Yeah,
Get
yeah.
it done. Get it done. It's nothing. It's
I
the
don't want
greatest
people-
nap you'll ever take.
Yeah, I don't want people to think that I wasn't excited about my team. Trust me, on edge. I'm sure my wife was up a couple more hours because she can't wind down as fast as I can, and she was pretty hyped. And
Miss Lisa don't get hype. She stays hype.
she is the hype. I don't know how I went to sleep, but I did. I think it's
I don't know how
because
you did either.
it's because I needed to.
I don't know how you did either.
It was an hour past my bedtime. I will tell you that. And I'm going, come on. They just said a defensive thing could end it. And Cameron said, so a safety would end it? I was like, I think so.
Yep.
Let's get a safety. Let's
Yep.
do this. I want to go to bed. And then an hour later,
Zoe said, I need you to win so I can go to bed.
true sign of age.
I get it. I respect it. I was nowhere near that. I was jacked up, as the kids say. And when I got on the social media last night, a verifiable mistake, what did I see but a whole lot of people saying publicly and on purpose that game was boring? I don't get that take at all. I don't get that take in the least. That game was not boring. If you were expecting a 200-point shootout, that I understand, but the game wasn't boring. I saw somebody tweet, they were like, imagine the number of Swifties that tuned into this game and thought that's what y'all all get jacked up about. And it was one of those games to me that I thought, if that game didn't get you, if you didn't think to yourself,
My loins have been tingling.
then you're doing it wrong, because that game was perfect.
I like your social media. It's different than mine because mine is, told you it was scripted. They'd find a way. They found a way for Kansas City to win. It's like, shut up, man. That was a defensive game. It was a really good game overall.
Sorry, just like who said it was going to be?
Yeah, okay. Right here on the Rob Brown show, it was uttered. It was a really good game. The commercials had some high points, and halftime was okay.
Nick Offerman, aka Ron Swanson.
I'd already
riding a
seen-
dragon.
See, I got spoiled on that one. I'd already seen that one.
That was good.
But we both know what the best commercial was.
Michael
So,
Sarah V.
No, that was good.
He dropped the line. I'm not going to even say it on the radio,
Yeah.
but he dropped the line in the middle of that commercial that the entire Super Bowl party I was at lost its mind laughing.
The mullet.
It was the funniest
It's the
thing.
mullet. The mullet, hands
Stone
down.
Cold with the mullet. I tweeted that.
Yeah.
I did. Kawasaki with commercial of the night for putting a big old freedom-loving mullet on Stone Cold's infamously bald head. Was pretty good. There were a few that were solid. I will say this year's better than last year's as far as the commercials go,
Yeah, I agree.
both in quantity and in quality. It feels like last year wasn't really about like a commercial standing out, and it felt like the ad execs this year were like, nobody talked about those commercials last year. We got to get back on the right side of this.
Neighbor.
This lady is in labor. Dude, that one was real good. That one was genuinely good. And the Danny DeVito cameo at the end made it perfect.
Well,
Made it perfect.
They are twins.
Yeah, they
so
are
it's,
twins.
it's not a surprise. Yeah.
It was perfect. There were some real good ones. We'll talk about those later on in the radio broadcast. Here is.
Should we address that on the stream?
Oh, we're
by the way?
coming to that. Miss April, you stick right there. We're coming to that here in just mere moments from now.
By the way, we're on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and the X.
Sure
if you-
are.
Yeah. If you want to check us out on video.
Search the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. You can get them there. You can get them both there. So I will say the most controversial take I had last night. Usher's halftime show was okay. It was
Yeah.
good.
It was, yeah, that's the thing.
It was good.
It was
It was
okay.
good.
You know what it is? Last year's was so good.
Last year's was
Yeah.
dope. Last year's was genuinely good. Usher was good. I will tell you the easily the high points were Alicia Keys, and then Usher had to make it weird. All right, you get your hands off that lady. All right,
Yeah, it was.
get your hands off that poor lady.
I mean, come on.
Yeah,
I mean, if you could dance like that and you could anyway.
Get your hands off Alicia Keys, Ursher.
I love that guy from Fast and Furious was on there, though. I didn't know that he did something other than acting.
I mean, Luda.
Yeah, it's like
I love Luda.
That fro was killer. By the way,
I love Luda.
That was a killer fro. I hope that's real. I hope that isn't like can you fro weave? I guess you can.
That Luda's legit.
That was cool.
I love Luda. The highlight of the entire show was Luda and Lil Jon, without a doubt, hands down, no question. Was the highlight of that show. I thought everything else was okay. Like the roller skate gimmick with the roller skate girls was kind of like, it was great choreography. The floor graphics while they were skating was really cool.
I thought Usher nearly lost it at one point on the skates.
I had no doubt he did.
Yeah, it looked like he had to catch himself. He made it smooth, of course, but I'm pretty sure he lost it.
I thought the roller skating was cool. I thought the very beginning where he was walking through all the Vegas performers doing the Cirque du Soleil stuff, that was pretty great. Like when they fanned over and they showed all the showgirls, and you're like, what a random camera shot, and then that dude like catapulted out behind them. Like it was pretty cool stuff. But as far as it goes, like Usher himself, Usher was he was okay. Like there were 4 or 5 spots in his song and dance where you could hear my dude was not 25 anymore, right? He's like, yeah, smooth. Like, take a breath, big dog.
There's a lot of sweat. I thought that was, he's moving a lot.
Oh, he's moving a lot.
He can still dance.
Listen, let's be very clear. Before any of you smartasses hit me on the text line, no, I could not do any of that, okay? I couldn't do any of it. If you gave me 6 months of training and practice, I still could not dance like Usher.
Not even back in the day?
No.
Okay.
I could not move. I can move, but there's a reason why Rob's been like, I'm a swing dancer, because I can't do any of that.
I think back in the day, I could have did some of the skating.
You could have skated.
Oh no, I was pretty good.
You could not have done that.
No, I dance skate. It's the only thing I can do that I can't put rhythm into it. I
dance skate.
Yeah, because if I try to skate regular, I fall down.
Have been tingling.
Probably not the place to use that.
It's perfect drop for that. I thought he was good. I thought it was good. I will say this, that Super Bowl halftime show was for, based on the reaction of the people I was around last night, that Super Bowl halftime show was for women my age. That's who that was for. Okay? It was for women my age, because I was there, the fiance, there was a group of other girls from the soccer fan club and the wives of soccer buddies, etc. And it sounded like floor at a Taylor Swift concert when Usher came out. When he lost the jacket and the tank top came off and he went shirtless, they were screaming like high school girls, to the point that my fiance was like, I have to go in the other room. I'm trying to hear the, music of the music halftime show. That's what I'm going for. I want to hear the music of the musical halftime show. But I can't blame him. Usher did fine. I thought Alicia Keys, Luda, and Lil Jon were without question the highlights of that halftime show. And outside of that, let's just be for real, ain't nobody topping Prince. I heard somebody say last night at that party, they were like, that's up there with Prince. No, it's not.
It's not.
No, it's not.
You know what? I'd put Katy Perry above it because she came out on that giant elephant thing or whatever that was.
Listen, Katy Perry got it because of Left Shark. Left Shark made that whole halftime show.
There was that too. But yeah, you're not getting Prince. You're just not. But is that argument? Is that Michael Jordan is the best of all time? Prince is the best of all. It was pretty good. And I have to put Michael Jackson second. So, you'd have to do a whole lot to supplant those for me.
I would go, I'd say Prince is up there. I'd say MJ is up there. I would say the LA, the California Lovin' with Dre and Snoop and Fitty and all that.
Yeah, last year was really good.
Up there at the top.
So in recent memory, he had to go against last year, and I just didn't think he pulled it off. I do have a major Super Bowl question that I need to ask, and we can still say it because we carried it. Who the heck is Ice Spice? I know I'm old. I know I'm old. I think I saw her in a commercial last year, a Dunkin' Donuts commercial with Ben Affleck.
Yeah,
I think that was her. But who is she?
She's a musician.
Yeah, is she a rapper or a singer?
I'm gonna be straight up with you. I don't know.
Okay, all right.
I don't know.
All right, because
I know who she is. I think she's a rapper. but who kind of like dabbles in the like R&B rap, kind of that gray area between, I think. All I know is the image at the beginning of Jason talking to Ice Spice has generated a legion of hysterical memes.
That is a guy who can walk in and talk to anybody.
Yeah.
He just, I mean.
There's one where Jason was like, oh, so which Spice are you? Like, it's just great stuff.
I'm also very disappointed Justin Bieber wasn't a part of the halftime show. I mean, how can you have Usher and not have Bieber there? And he was there.
And he was there.
He could have been out there.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, why not? Why not have Biebs out there?
Also, I found out Posty is doing a country album. I'm in. I'm way in.
It was kind of a country
It was
feel
100%
to
a country feel.
My favorite part to it was the guitar work. I
Wait.
thought the guitar work was
I thought
excellent.
it was very good. But the dramatic moment of the night, Reba was right on the 90-second mark. It was going to be right there. It was right under the gun. I got a room full of people that bet the under. I had the under because it's a country music star. I'm like, you know, Reba's going to have her diva moment, but I don't think she's going to overdo it. Bro, she dropped a second The Brave on the end of the anthem, national anthem. And if it wasn't for the second The Brave, she'd have hit the under. She went over.
She bet on
The
herself.
Brave.
She bet on herself. She's a Vegas vet. She bet on herself.
What's up.
Yeah, well, you could. How could you not do that? I mean, you shouldn't, but you could do that. I mean, you know, she's like stretching out. She's pointing at the crowd like, you all just lost. And guess what?
Reba has integrity.
Does she?
That's why.
Okay. Yes. She sang about the putting a girl into prostitution.
In Georgia.
Yeah, that was a remake. You know that was a remake.
Yes, I do. And you know what? It's now Reba's.
No,
Okay?
it's not.
It 100%
No, it's Vicki Lawrence's song
it's
forever.
Reba's.
Vicki Lawrence
right.
from the Carol Burnett Show.
When we come back here in a minute, we will actually talk about the Super Bowl itself. Your Kansas City Chiefs become the fourth team in NFL history to win 3 Super Bowls in a 5-year span. They become the first team to repeat in 20 years. And Patrick Mahomes joins rarefied air as the first player to, join as the most recent player to join a short list of 3-time MVPs, is what I was trying to say before I melted down right there. Hey, it's the first segment of the first day of the week. Give me some space, huh? Should Patrick Mahomes been MVP? I'm going to say shoulder shrug, and we'll debate it when we come back. Lonzo Robin, the Rob Brown Show rolls on. It's going to be busy today, y'all, on the Fan Upstate.
Smith.
All right, guys, I got a live read right here. Thank you all for joining. Please stay right there, and we'll come right back.
yesterday.
Yeah.
She just crawls on my feet and goes to sleep.
Yeah.
So, I mean.
Kittens are the best at that. Then kittens have the worst glow up of all time when kittens become cats. And then they become aloof. Unless they want attention, and then they won't leave you alone.
I'm okay with aloof.
See, this is why I don't get cats. Why do you want a pet that doesn't want to be pet? Well, I'm a dog guy.
I just want a mean killing machine. I want to see carnage. I want to see the population of mice go down by a bunch. And you can have your own space.
Alonso got a kitten. All he wants it to be is a murderer.
That's definitely that's why we went and got her. I love her. She's awesome. But if she becomes aloof, as long as she does her job, I will say hi in passing. I'm okay with that. I will keep her fed and take care of her needs. If every once in a while she comes over and wants a little bit of a snuggle, I'm okay with that. And I do picture her while we're going to all the places that I kept her out of yesterday. All right, he's not here to stop me. I'm going there, like behind the TV and stuff like that. How do you keep a cat from chewing on cords, though? She's already found a couple cords that she wants to chew on. That's a problem.
Spray bottle.
Okay. Can't do that when you're not there, though. I will say, Zach, I think someone talked to Romo, and I think he backed it off. And I think there was a couple of times he started to go somewhere, and he stops. He did sing at the end of a segment.
He did.
Which I have no problem with that.
Was on, by the way. Somebody sent me pregame, the Super Bowl drinking game, and there were like 9 Tony Romo. Did he ever say that was a little bit Mahomey of Brock Purdy? Because that was take a shot.
I don't think so. That's the thing. There was only a couple of times where my wife said, let's change it to Nickelodeon. And the only reason why I didn't go with Nickelodeon is because I didn't want to miss the commercials. Because I'm guessing the commercials were different.
You watched the Nickelodeon broadcast?
No, I didn't.
Oh,
that's what I said. She wanted me to change it a couple of times because he got on her nerves. I'm like, yeah, but we'll miss commercials, and I don't want to miss commercials. I thought he was tolerable. There's a couple times I thought he was on the edge of doing what he was doing, and he stopped himself, or Jim punched him. And I wouldn't believe Jim punched him.
So let's talk about the X's and O's. Let's talk about the Jimmies and the Mahomes of Super Bowl 58 last night. 25-22, your final in an overtime contest that I thought, frankly, was a fantastic football game. I thoroughly enjoyed it. As I told you going in, I thought it was a game the under was going to cash because I thought you had 2 elite defenses out there. War of attrition very clearly won by Kansas City with Greenlaw going down. Debo missed some time, obviously fought to get back on the football field, but was out for a hot minute. Good game, real good game. Here's the big question that's been going around. Did the 49ers make a mistake by taking the ball first in overtime? And the answer to me was no. The drive that Kansas City put together late in that game took for damn ever and was exhausting. You know that your defense is gassed. You know that your defense is winded. And you know 15's on the other side. By the way, is Mahomes the only guy in the game right now that we're referring to by his number? Is there anybody else we're doing that for? I don't think there is. That's just where that guy is. So you know 15's on the other side. You know that Kansas City's got the momentum in their corner. And you know that these are the moments that the Kansas City Chiefs just keep being the Kansas City Chiefs. And I think the only way to take the air out of the football in that position is to go score first. Your defense is gassed. Your offense is fresh. You have got whether or not it translates to the scoreboard or not, if you are San Francisco, you've got more skill position talent than Kansas City does. I think I can say, without hesitation, roster to roster, San Francisco's better on paper. But it doesn't matter what they look like on paper. What matters what they look like on the scoreboard at the end of the game. And talent alone does not a football team make.
By the way, I completely agree. I don't think you can look at that San Francisco roster and not go, man, they're stacked here, they're stacked here. They were stacked pretty much everywhere.
Yeah.
And even their kicker, who supposedly, although he did miss the extra point, that hurt them.
They got blocked.
Yeah. But other than that, I mean, he did pretty well last night. So
and how big did that XP come into?
It did.
I mean, unbelievable. So to me, I understand there's going to be a lot of people, and let's call it what it is. There's going to be a lot of folks who are going to Monday morning quarterback. It's very easy to pick out the mistakes that were made on Monday morning. I had zero issue, none, with that team trying to score first in overtime. A lot of people hitting you with, oh, you should have kicked. You should have let Mahomes have the ball first. You should have let your defense was gassed, man. Your defense is exhausted. And if your defense is exhausted, trying to keep pace with Patrick Mahomes and the momentum is a tough thing to do. And the only way you don't do that is if you go out there and punch one into the end zone. And let's be clear, San Francisco got real close. Fell apart in the final 10 yards, real close to punching in, taking the air out of the stadium, taking the juice out of Kansas City, and creating a situation where Kansas City has to score a touchdown just to keep the game going. The pressure was on them. You created, and every series is a 4-down series world for Kansas City by getting the field goal. And even with that, you could feel the thickness of that moment in the air. Now, Kansas City, if you ask me for a team that I think can respond in a moment like that, obviously it's Mahomes and the Chiefs. But San Francisco was yay close to putting 7 on the board in OT, and then think about the pressure on Mahomes and the gang, right? It's a little bit of wiggle room when you know all you need is a field goal. All you need is 3 to just keep the game alive. If you had to have 7, that's a different world, and I understand that they didn't get it. But this isn't an argument about what did happen. It's an argument as to how we got to where what did happen. And I'm watching this morning on social media, people busting up Kyle Shanahan. Look, it's real easy to wake up on a Monday morning and act like you are the smartest football guy in the room. Did you say it last night when that announcement to start overtime got made? Did you say it then? Did you tweet it then? Or are you tweeting with your chest this morning now that the game's in the record books? Because I'm going to tell you, I had no problem. If you want a conversation about where Shanahan went wrong, and there were some spots Shanahan got straight up outcoached. It's a lovely camera angle you're working with there, Lonzo. I like it a lot. There were a lot of spots
that probably happened because someone's over there bumping their microphone and
it
stuff.
Probably is.
Yeah,
You're right.
It could be that.
Probably right.
And I was doing other things, didn't notice.
You're
welcome for belly cam.
There were some spots that Shanahan got outcoached. There were a couple of spots where there was some clock management. I thought Shanahan not getting on his special teams last night about taking care of the football. The game was the muffed punt, right? How do you not have your guys understand, especially considering there were 2 to 3 moments in that game last night on punt returns where I'm watching guys like Ray make some pretty big mistakes as far as knowing where the ball is, knowing where it's going, knowing to call the fair catch, knowing to call Peter. there were some spots that I thought San Francisco just straight up mismanaged the football contest. And if you open the door like that for Andy Reid, he's not going to walk through it. He's going to kick it the hell off the hinges. And that's what he did last night. I thought there were some spots that the moment maybe got a bit too big. And I hate this because I like Kyle Shanahan a lot. I like his offense. I like his style of coaching. I like most everything about him. But I think there were 2 or 3 spots last night that were just a little bit too big. And he either overthought or underthought it. Clock management at the end of the first half was a question mark. Special teams management was a question mark. I did not understand why on that late drive where Kansas City was going down to try to tie or take the lead, the one that gave them the 16-13 that turned into 16-16 setup. I did not understand why San Francisco seemed to have switched up their defense entirely, right? Like they're playing good ball. You have eliminated, let's be real, up until mid-third quarter, Travis Kelce was not a factor until later in the game. As you could tell by the fact that I thought he killed Andy Reid. I thought Andy was going down.
I didn't hear Andy address that. Maybe he did.
He did. He said, forgive and forget, moment of passion. We're all good.
And I think he just didn't see him coming. And he turned around and thought he was going to get hit, and that got Andy off balance. He shouldn't have came at him that aggressively, but the memes and things we've gotten out of that, well worth it for that.
Poor Andy. I thought Andy was toast, dude.
I thought
Andy was in trouble.
The first one I saw was Tony Stark built that in a cave with I was dying.
I think San Francisco, for whatever reason, and you could see it, it was when Travis Kelce got involved. San Francisco switched up the defense. Now, losing Greenlaw changes how the middle of that defense works, right? That guy is so rangy and so athletic, and without that guy in the middle of the field, you kind of like you end up with some concerns. But I think you've still got to play that defense, and you've got to take Pat's favorite weapon away from him. But they didn't. They didn't. They loosened up the middle of the field. They tried to focus on the outside wide receivers, and it allowed Travis Kelce to start catching balls across the middle. And all of a sudden, he goes from one catch for 1 yard in the first half. He had like one catch for 1 yard, and then he ends the game with 90 yards of receiving, just like that. Just like that.
Well, I think part of it was he was getting double and triple teamed, and they were taking him out of the game. But why did they switch up from that? Did anyone start standing out other than him to make them have to peel defenders off? I don't think they did. I think they just decided to stop doing it, or he figured it out. And I mean, clutch at the end of the game when Mahomes needed him, Kelce got open and wide open.
I will say, as somebody who was watching 87 closely last night, because that, to me, I said going in, as much as it feels like, oh, duh, Rob, that's common sense. As much as it feels like that's common sense, Travis Kelce was the key to that offense last night. And when Travis Kelce was being held to a catch for a yard in the first half, at that point, I was like, yo, San Francisco can win this game. I put up the very not passive-aggressive tweet about Kansas City. I was like, they are the Chiefs. Nope, they are melting down. But the reality was I probably wasn't giving enough credit to the first half defense of San Francisco, who had basically all but eliminated Travis Kelce with the X's and O's. They had Greenlaw bumping him off the line. Outside of 7 yards deep, they were passing him off to the next level or running with him. And they said, look, you're going to have to beat us with anybody else. And Kansas City wasn't doing it. They weren't beating them with anybody else. And if San Francisco would have come up with 1-2 more tutties somewhere along the line, they just couldn't finish a drive. If San Francisco could have finished a couple of more drives, we're having a very different conversation today. But once Greenlaw went down and it stayed a one-possession game and they stopped being able to jam Kelsey because they didn't have the big physical guy they needed in the middle of the field to do it, the game changed and Patrick took advantage of it.
I hate to invoke this name because he showed up twice last night in commercials and was very entertaining. Tom Brady and Gronk. There were times Gronk disappeared and was not there during games, and then suddenly when he was, he made a difference. It's the key. It definitely is, and I think it's the tight end position overall. But it seems like that connection has helped in a couple dynasties.
I'm gonna tell you right now, you go back and look through teams that are either dynasties or feel like they are close to it.
You know what? I don't feel guilty about this. I've been thinking about this. All the hate and everything. I went through 55 years of my life, and my team finally has went over that edge that some teams don't get to go over, and they're dominant. And this year wasn't domination. They could have lost just about any game, but they didn't. This is a great feeling.
I'm going to drink a lot of beer tonight, Jim. Budweiser.
And there are guys out there like Detroit fans who are just starting to feel the potential of what could be if they could just get over that hump, and that could be coming. I just, I am not going to feel guilty for the team that I pull for finally doing something that's amazing.
I don't think anybody's asking you to.
Oh, the haters, all that kind of stuff, and it just.
By the way, can I? Sorry, real quick aside. Can I give you the phrase that I'm very much over? I am over they told us we can't. They told us we won't. I'm watching Usher climb on stage and he goes, they told me I wouldn't be here. I'm like, who told you that, Usher? You've been famous since you were like 19, bro.
All right. Are you about to disrespect the Chiefs again? One day after this, are you about to do that? Are you about to do that?
Yes.
Because it sounds like you're about to do that.
Yes. Because if I can rig the game like I did last night by disrespecting the Chiefs all the way to me winning a buttload of money by betting on them, I will do it again next year.
I would call it
Actually, I won't, because the Super Bowl's in New Orleans, and I'd really like to be team number 2 that wins it at home.
Well, it's the Reba method. So, I mean, if you want to go Reba method, you go ahead.
Disrespectful. So, I'm really tired of. They told me nobody told you couldn't. No, you were literally the odds-on favorite to win the Super Bowl going into the season. Nobody told you can't do it. Stop it.
Hey, they told us we couldn't win back-to-back
Nobody
awards
told you
on the
that.
show. Yeah,
Nobody told you that.
Yeah, they did.
Literally, no one said
they
that.
Did.
Who's
Rob? They.
No one said that.
Listen, it's a collective of theys. I mean, you don't want to throw names out there because you don't want to do that. That's that's like snitching. You don't want to do that.
As good at anything as they is at remaining unidentified, because I got to tell you, I hear a lot of they want, they do, they say, they this, they that, and every time I go, that's great. Who's they? It's always. You know who it is, Rob. It's they.
You shouldn't be upset because they obviously don't know ball and you do. So I mean, why do they bother you?
Because I'm it's just so why can't people just go, yeah, we're good. We're the best. What do you want? We're the best. We're the best at this thing that we do. Why the false? They said we couldn't do it. Nobody said you couldn't do it, Travis. Nobody said that. Everybody said you should do it. In fact, most people said it'd be a disappointment if you don't do it.
A lot of disrespect this past year. Different announcers going, yeah, the Chiefs are struggling here. This is not going to be their year. There was that kind of stuff out there, and you had to have heard it early on in the season when they were struggling. So that was there, and they took it to heart, and they used that as motivation. Here's the problem.
The haters.
Yeah, and they're hater tots.
They like to drink their haterade and eat their hater tots.
Here's the problem with Super Bowl winners. A lot of times, this is why we don't see repeats. They come back and they're complacent and they don't have the hunger and the drive and all the doubt early on in the season because the Chiefs were struggling. They use that as motivation. And that's why we hadn't had a back-to-back in almost 20 years.
I don't think you see a lot of repeats because, I mean, I'm sure that has something to do with it. But I don't think you see a lot of repeats because now, and good luck with this, now's the point where a bunch of guys who were on the team but did not make the team are going to say, I'd like superstar money now, please. Which I don't blame them. The average NFL career is not even 4 years long. So I don't blame them. But now's the point where you're going to get a bunch of guys who were on the team but aren't the reason you won the Super Bowl going, I want superstar money, and you're going to see your team break up a little bit.
If you're Kadarius Toney, do you accept your ring?
I mean, yeah, just so I say I have one, but.
Well, he already has one. This would be the second one.
Toney getting bumped from the roster.
Active scratch.
Social
media, it's effective in many ways.
A week after he's like, well, 2 weeks ago, I ain't hurt, they lying. And then leading up to the Super Bowl, I ain't said that. Bro, we have Instagram Live. We all saw it. Followed by the last minute healthy scratch from the team. Oh, what a drama. All right, let's take a break. We'll keep going with this. We're going to talk Lonzo, you guys. Lonzo said that Tony Romo was, and I quote, bearable. That's pretty good. That's an upgrade. Texas said Travis Kelce running into Andy Reid and screaming in his face should be red flags for Taylor Swift. We're going to talk about that. Texas says, congratulations, Chief and Lonzo. With Mahomes at the quarterback spot, the Chiefs will win at least 5 more before he's done. Spur Daddy jumping in early.
I don't know about all that. I hope so. But I don't
5
know
more? 5?
Yeah, it's going to.
5.
Andy Reid and Travis Kelce are going to factor into that.
5. Golly. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back here in just a minute. Wrap up hour 1 of the Rob Brown Show. Talking Super Bowl, y'all, on the Fan Upstate. Zach, I agree. Brock Purdy was better than advertised last night.
Yeah, take that, Cam Newton. I mean, my dude did really well.
He managed the hell out of that game.
I was really frustrated that Mahomes didn't run more early because those lanes were open.
I do not want him running into Dre Greenlaw. I don't.
This was after Greenlaw was out.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Once he was out and the lanes were open, had to go.
Here's the thing, Zach. So I don't know if I want to comment too much because it was Bill O'Brien and now suddenly he's gone. So until they actually start practicing, is he the offensive coordinator? I don't know. I mean, on paper, he's the offensive coordinator, but so was O'Brien. And then suddenly I'm like, I start reading Chip Kelly, the new offensive was like, what happened to O'Brien? And then turns out he took a head coaching job somewhere that quick. And it's like, I don't know.
Bob?
Yeah. I think Chip Kelly and Ryan Day will clash. That's what I think, but we'll see. But if you have the chance to be an offensive coordinator with what Ohio State's going to have next year,
taking a $4 million pay cut to go to Ohio State.
Maybe he knows that if Ryan Day loses to Michigan again, he's out, and then Chip Kelly gets to be the coach of the Buckeyes. I mean, there's got to be some thoughts in your head about that. Probably, maybe. I don't know. It could be Ryan Day. By the way, Ryan Day is not an idiot. He is. He was deemed an offensive genius for a while, and he just can't beat Michigan, or he couldn't beat Jim Harbaugh. We're going to find out. Is it Michigan or was it Harbaugh? Because Harbaugh is gone, and so are a bunch of his coaches. He took a bunch of them with him. So, although technically Harbaugh wasn't coaching when Ryan Day lost. Keep seeing Dora the Explorer rules expert popping up on videos. I got to hear it.
Offensive or defensive players can be called for holding. Say it with us. Players no holding.
That's kind of awesome. Now I wish I
I've
would
only
have.
seen clips of it, but from what I understand, the dude who was doing Patrick was hilarious during the game. Apparently, they were talking about how hard Brock Purdy studies the game, and Patrick was like, "What's that?" Noah was having this whole conversation with him about what studying means, and Patrick just did not understand it.
Isn't Bill Fagerbeck the voice of Patrick? Used to be on Coach. He was the one. Hey, Coach. That's him.
Good morning.
I'm shocked you didn't open with that TBH.
I was giving you some.
It's appreciated.
Yeah.
It's appreciated.
Whatever it was, I was giving it to you.
I appreciate that, whatever it was. Y'all, as Zach said on the stream chat, Brock Purdy showed such amazing poise last night in his first Super Bowl. He led 3 game-leading drives in the fourth quarter and overtime to give his team a lead at some point. I'm going to go ahead and say Brock Purdy managed the hell out of that game last night. He was better than advertised. And he was advertised pretty well. Pretty well. A lot of Brock Purdy talk last week. He was advertised as being very good, and he was.
How about a Steve Wilkes though? I mean, you get handed that kind of defense, and you can't beat a team when you're leading.
No, don't you do that.
That guy.
Don't you do
that
that.
guy. I'm going to do that. That guy's
Don't
overrated
you do
when he's
that.
with the Panthers,
Bro.
and cannot coach an all-star team
The haters.
with the league.
The haters.
It's not
the
haters.
haters,
It's not
the
hating.
haters.
He needs to move on.
Yes,
I mean, he needs to go manage a 7-Eleven. That's what he needs to do, because he can't coach that all-star defense to beat the Chiefs and win the Super Bowl.
He held Patrick Mahomes to 22 regular time points.
Okay, what is
how pathetic?
he didn't do anything different than
How
what
attra-
than what Mahomes' average was for the season. I mean, come on.
You want to take a coach down? You go after Kyle Shanahan scoring 22 with that.
Well,
conglomeration of talent.
ultimately, he hired Wilkes, so that makes him responsible for that too.
Dude,
yes.
I don't listen. Today should be your day for victory laps.
Yeah, I
Not hating.
it would not shock me if there's not a change on that side of the
Dude,
ball.
straight up and entirely. If you put this on Steve Wilkes, you don't know it. You don't know ball.
Okay, I don't understand why you're getting angry. I'm
Because-
giving my honest opinion about someone who was overrated when he was with the Panthers. He took over an all-star defense and couldn't keep the Chiefs from winning in overtime. Part of that is the defense's problem, isn't it? Isn't it the defense's fault that the offense scored on the defense? So you're not going to give any blame to him at all.
No,
Okay, all right,
no.
fine.
San Francisco's
I
defense.
guess we add somebody else to that list of people you defend for no reason.
Dude, he held the Chiefs offense to 22 points.
Again, what was the Chiefs' average score for the entire season? I can look it up, or you can look it up. He didn't do anything amazing.
Did the Chiefs play the same ball in the regular season as they did in the postseason when they went into when they defended the house in the
Yes,
freezing cold
they
against Miami?
barely win. That's
they
what they
went to
did the
Baltimore?
entire season, was barely win.
Dude, listen. If you put this on Steve Wilkes, I got nothing. I got nothing. I don't know how to argue with
You're
that.
right. You don't have anything. He didn't stop them. That means it's his fault. That's how it works. The coaches take the blame. Hey, man, if I would have coached better, we would have won. Yes, you're right.
You know how you claim I defend guys with
I just
no
think
reason not to?
you're really being a contrarian, because you're going against what my opinion. That makes you a contrarian.
That's not how that word works.
It is, because anytime I disagree with someone, I'm the contrarian. So it should work the other way.
No. Contrarian means you disagree with the public, with the popular opinion for the sake of it. I'm scrolling through last night. I saw a lot of blame handed to San Francisco. None of it going to Steve Wilkes, and I don't think it should. That is not on Steve Wilkes, and it's frankly Not on San Francisco's defense, who gave you
By the way,
quarters. I'm not done.
No, average
Who
points,
gave you
21.8 for the season. 21.8 for the season. That was their average points. He didn't do anything any different than any other defensive coach the entire season with that roster.
He gave you 3.5 quarters of elite caliber ball. And when did the break for Kansas City happen?
And then he wilked at the end of the game.
When did Kansas City take their first lead? What was the circumstances? Was it the defense? No. It was special teams giving Kansas City the ball 12 yards from the end zone. Yeah, Patrick Mahomes is scoring from there. If that special teams turnover doesn't happen and San Francisco gets the ball back, we got a different game. I got nothing, man. Kansas City.
Shout out to Deontay because I thank you for agreeing with me because Rob will get a bunch of texters who agree with him, but I appreciate having one person agree with me. In the end, did they play a good game? Absolutely, but as I just pointed out, the Chiefs averaged 21.8 points the entire season. So he didn't really do anything that significant compared to what every other defense out there did. With how good that defense was, they should have been able to hold him the whole time. You know who the more gas defense who came through was? It was Kansas City because they were on the field. That defense was on the field
who gave up
much
the
longer.
Exact same number of points. The exact same number. But they are great, and San Francisco's defense collapsed.
By the way,
same number of points.
Time of possession meant that San Francisco's defense was definitely fresher and should not have given up the points that they gave up. But, that's just what they do. How
many turnovers for San Francisco? How many extra possessions for Kansas City? Maybe that's the deal.
By the way, you're right. Kansas City lost the turnover margin and still won the game.
No, you did not.
Pacheco fumbled, and Kansas City threw an interception.
Right. You did not lose the turnover battle. It was, 2-2, I think?
No, I thought it was 2-1.
Either way.
No, it might have been 2-2 because of that kickoff. Or a punt.
If you are rolling out there and holding Mahomes in a Super Bowl to 22 points, and with Ayuk
you did
and
an
Debo
average
and
job.
And Witter,
did an average job. Way to go. Way to go, Wilkes. Average job. You could have done better. You knower of ball. If you had that roster, you would have held them to less points, not the average amount of points that they normally score.
If your offense goes out there with Christian McCaffrey, with George Kittle, with Debo Samuel, with Brandon Ayuk, and you score 22 points in a game, this is on San Francisco's offense for not finishing drives. Steve Wilkes and the 49er defense did everything you can do against a three-time Super Bowl MVP, against a repeat champ, against a guy who has gone to 6 straight AFC title games and won most of them, against the guy that has basically only been taken down by Tom Brady. It is not unfair to ask San Francisco to be able to score 23 points in a game. That's not unfair.
It's not unfair to ask that stellar defense to stop Kansas City from scoring and winning. Someone has to win. Someone has to lose. Blame needs to be given where it's deserved to be given on the defensive coordinator and the offensive coordinator. You can't just say, it was all Shannon. Just because you said that doesn't, because you will not put blame on Wilkes because for some reason you're defending him. I don't understand. I hope that I'm on that list of people you defend the way you defend some of these guys because it doesn't make sense. Guy's an average coach. Good for him. I hope you enjoy your pay with that kind of defense, and that's all you could do.
All you could do.
Chase Young and Nick Bosa and all those guys, and that's all you could do.
Until
Shameful.
They got beat up on the injury front.
They lost one guy.
They lost 2 guys.
Who was the other guy?
Now I forgot who it was. But they lost 2 guys, including the guy who, for an entire half, Plus, held Travis Kelce to 1 yard for 1 catch. And oh, by the way, you were this close to a first half shutout. You can't do better. If I can't get Kittle and Ayuk and McCaffrey and Purdy and Samuel to give me 23 points in a game, that's on the offense, not the defense. Sports Flash.
Some people just get so angry. I don't know why. It took overtime and some late game heroics, but the Kansas City Chiefs are NFL champions once again. The repeat was secured with a 25-22 overtime win, which was predicted here on the best show in all of sports over San Francisco in Super Bowl 58. Patrick Mahomes was awarded the MVP for a third time, going 34-46 for 333 yards, 2 touchdowns, and unfortunately 1 pick, and 66 yards on the ground. Travis Kelce had 93 yards on 9 grabs, and McCole Hardman had 57 and the game-winning overtime touchdown. Kyle Lowry was a Hornet for a very short time, agreeing to a buyout with Charlotte after being traded from Miami before the trade deadline. Once Lowry clears waivers, he's probably going to sign with the 76ers. Tune in Wednesday at 6:30 as Furman takes on VMI right here on The Fan Upstate. Not saying anything else because of Moles. Sorry, Moles. You have nothing to report. Moles are snitches. I don't know. It's kind of the same thing.
Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar. Scenic Views are calling you to Sweethearts Week. Swing by for scenic views wrapped in red. And steal your heart special at the Sweethearts Week costume party, February 11th through 14th. Love the new card, but how did CarPro.com, my new friend? Oh, honey, CarPro.com has the easiest, most wonderful way to find a car. CarPro.com. You now have a friend in the car body business, and it doesn't suck, and it's free. CarPro.com. Unleash your inner Viking with the all-new Hyundai Santa Fe, and you can win tickets to Norway to see Heart live and tons of rock. You and 3 friends, round-trip airfare, 5-night hotel stay, VIP tickets, $500 gift card, and more. Enter now at Odyssey.com/Santa Fe for your chance to win. This epic getaway is made possible by the all-new 2024 Hyundai Santa Fe, equipped for adventure. Check out Heart's tour lineup at heart-music.com. Running a small business is no small task. At Home Trust Bank, we work hard to prepare businesses for whatever tomorrow may bring. Your dreams are our business, and we help you experts to plan for a successful future. Dependable guidance you need and service you appreciate. At Home Trust Bank, we take your small business banking personally. Visit your local Home Trust branch or anytime at htb.com. Member FDIC. Forestry is big business in South Carolina. How can people walking around in the woods be big business? Forestry is everything that's part of the wood product supply chain. It makes up the 3rd largest industry in the state. In fact, the forest industry in South Carolina ranks #1 in jobs, #2 in labor income, and generates an overall economic impact of $23.2 billion.
Wow, forestry is big business in South Carolina.
South Carolina Forests. They'll grow on you. Sponsored by the South Carolina Forestry Commission, the South Carolina Broadcasters Association, and this station. For the ones who work hard to ensure their
I had to get new granola bars because the other ones being coated in chocolate apparently made them not great for you.
Yeah, there is that.
And these are very like traditional granola bar.
So bland and dry.
Yeah. And I don't understand how people describe this as a good snack.
You like dip it in dark chocolate, which is healthier, supposedly.
And shoulder like a passing lane? Why pay a rate based on anyone else? Get one based on you with DriveWise from Allstate. Not available in Alaska or California, subject to terms and conditions. Rates are determined by several factors, which vary by state. In some states, participation in DriveWise allows Allstate to use your driving data for purposes of rating. While in some states, your rate could increase with high-risk driving. Generally, safer drivers will safely DriveWise. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company in Phillies, North Park, Illinois.
The Fan.
Upstate.
Bow, bow, da, down.
W246CB Spartanburg. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
And check this out.
You're on official Rob Brown lockdown.
Represents freedom, freedom.
Yeah. Manufactured locally for the Carolinas. This is the Rob Brown Show. Only.
The Fan. Upstate.
And away we go, ladies and gentlemen. The Rob Brown Show is back on your radio. Hour 2 starts now. This, friends, is the Fan Upstate. I am Rob Brown. Over on the other side of the metaphorical glass, he is the Sultan of Swag, the Professor of Perfection, the Wizard of Wave. They call him the Great One, Lonzo, on the ones and twos this AM. Should you like to be a part of the radio broadcast, now's a wonderful time to do it. The renewal by Anderson of the Carolinas fan phone is open for you at 844-326-3663, 844-FANFONE. You may text us on the text line at 71307, 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-M. We'll read them on the air. Tweet X, post us at Lonzo Onward, at The Rob Brown Show. And today I am manning the Fan Upstate Twitter account as well, at The Fan Upstate, if you want to get at us there. All the different ways to be in touch with the radio broadcast. Today, you can also email me, rob.brown@thefanupstate.com. I will say this. I really thought Travis Kelce was scoring that game winner. And America had Travis. There were more bets. I learned this on Sunday morning, Lonzo. There were more bets on Travis Kelce to score a touchdown than there were on the San Francisco 49ers as a team to win. Outright or against the spread.
I wonder if there are a certain sect of fans who forayed into betting for the very first time.
The Swifties are gambling now.
And were swayed towards a certain player.
The Swifties.
Because that's the first thing I thought of when you said that, and it wouldn't shock me if that's part of it.
Here's a fun story, or stat, I should say.
By the way, real quick, they mixed it up last night. They only showed Taylor when Patrick Mahomes did something, not when Kelce did something. Take that, haters.
How many? Did we get a number? How many times they showed her? I didn't see the number.
I
counted 4.
Yeah, during the game,
it was 4.5.
During the game, it wasn't that bad. Before the game, during pregame, and they showed her a bunch.
Yeah,
but there was also a bunch of celebrities in that booth.
I was gonna say they showed her and Blake Lively. But wait, scratch all that. Did you see the video of Jackson Mahomes getting absolutely blocked by Britney's bodyguards? Spectacular. Brit was up in the club at the Super Bowl warm-up. Jackson, the influencer Mahomes, was walking up like, let me get in there with my my sister-in-law, yeah? And security was like, no, dog, nope.
So if you guys ever wonder why I don't show up for events, it's because Rob does that to me.
Yeah, I Brittany Mahomes him.
His people are waiting there. I try to disguise myself. I try to do a bunch of other things to get in there, and it never works. These guys are good.
Kyle Shanahan has been involved in 3 Super Bowls so far. He has been to one as an offensive coordinator. That was Super Bowl 51. He was the offensive coordinator in Super Bowl 51. You may remember Super Bowl 51 as the Super Bowl in which the Atlanta Falcons had a 28-3 lead and then lost the game.
My loins have been tingling.
Kyle Shanahan was the offensive coordinator in that game, blew a 25-point lead. In Super Bowl 54, San Francisco against Kansas City, the San Francisco 49ers held a 10-point lead over Kansas City, and then they lost it. In Super Bowl 58, the San Francisco 49ers under head coach Kyle Shanahan had a 10-point lead over the Kansas City Chiefs, and they lost it as well. Not only is Kyle Shanahan, as an offensive coordinator or above, 0 for 3 in Super Bowls, but he has blown a double-digit lead in all 3 of them so far. I don't know if Kyle Shanahan's the guy that's going to be able to get it done. Great one. I think the narrative, whether you like it or not, has not only been spun, but it's one that has to be talked about. That's impressive.
Until he finally wins one, he's going to have to deal with this.
Yep.
And if he never does, you know what he did? He made it to the Super Bowl a couple of times. There's some coaches that never have the chance to do that.
That's also true. He's been to 3 at this point. All right. Okay. There's a video going around now. I got to get to the water cooler cheat sheet. Lonzo, there's a video going on right now after the game last night of Jason Kelce dancing in the club in a Chiefs Rey Mysterio luchador mask. Absolutely getting it. Absolutely getting it. I love that guy. I think
now we gotta
want to be Jason Kelce when I grow up.
Now we got to find out what song was playing.
I'm sure you can hear it in the video. I just can't play it yet. I will during the
Aren't you curious, though?
Also, he showed up to the Super Bowl dressed as Zach from The Hangover.
Yeah, I thought that was great.
That's
It
spectacular.
was really good.
This dude's he's just the best. Hey, guys, gals, y'all, sports fans. It's 7:08 in the morning. You're just a few minutes away from having to get clocked in for work. You're just a few minutes away from having to start your day. And when you do, at some point, you're all going to be gathering around the water cooler to talk sports. And while we are breaking down the Super Bowl and preparing ourselves for the 250-plus day seasonal depression that is the football off season, worry not, there are other sports happening, and that is why you need this.
Are you ready for the playbook of the peculiar, the almanac of the absurd, and the encyclopedia of the extraordinary? Well, you better be, because we're diving headfirst into the 3 top stories that will have your coworkers saying,
You hear that?
Hey, Big Daddy, how you doing?
before they take their first bathroom break.
No.
Here we go. Welcome to the water cooler cheat sheet on the Fan Upstate.
It is the water cooler cheat sheet, the top 3 things you need to know before you get to the office and start talking sports with your friends when the time comes to sit around and discuss the sports with your work proximity associates. These are the stories you'll need to know. Let us begin, ladies and gentlemen, with, obviously, item number 1. It took 4 quarters plus another. But for the second time in as many years, for the third time in 5, the Kansas City Chiefs are the world champions. 25-22, they put down the 49ers with a Mecole Hardman overtime tutty to claim their 3rd Super Bowl championship in half a decade. Patrick Mahomes becomes the 3rd player in NFL history to have 3 Super Bowl MVPs alongside Tom Brady and alongside Joe Montana was your quarterback, you idiot. 34-46 for 333 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. He also ran it 9 times for 66. Patrick Mahomes led all Chiefs in rushing last night. Isaiah Pacheco, 18 carries for 59 yards, averaged 3.3 yards per carry. I knew they were going to run Pacheco a lot, but as we mentioned going in, the San Francisco defensive line was very good. It was more about keeping them honest than it was being thoroughly successful on the ground. It was a good stat line for Mahomes. It did take him a little while to get cooking against a pretty good San Francisco defense, but once Patrick Mahomes got into the kitchen, he tore it up as he usually does. Travis Kelce had himself another day. 9 snags, 93 yards. Mecole Hardman had 3 for 57, 1 for 52, 2 more for a combined 5 yards, but one of them was the game-winning touchdown in overtime. Over on the other side, San Francisco, Brock Purdy, 23 of 38, 255, a touchdown, and a QBR of 69.8, a QB rating of 89.3. Straight up not on Brock Purdy. Straight up not on Brock Purdy. He managed the hell out of that game. Christian McCaffrey, 22 carries for 80 yards, 8 catches for 80 yards, and a touchdown in that one. Brock Purdy ran the ball 3 times for 12 yards. The 49ers amassed 110 yards of rushing offense. 80 of it belongs to CMC. 276 yards through the air all told, because the other passing touchdown came from, as we all knew it would, Jawan Jennings, who threw he threw a lateral pass to McCaffrey, who then took it 21 yards right through the heart of the Kansas City defense for pay dirt. McCaffrey again, 80 yards. I know, great one. I know that we don't give MVPs to the losing team, and I know that you don't give MVPs to certainly not quarterbacks from the losing team. Christian McCaffrey was the MVP of that game last night.
I agree. I had no idea who they were going to pick as the MVP. And we were talking about that before I went to bed last night. It's like, I bet they'll probably give it to Mahomes, because who else are you going to give it to on the winning side?
There really wasn't another Chief out there that had the number that you go, that's the guy. Mahomes outrushed everybody else. Kelsey had 9 for 93, but he didn't score. I think if he punches that game winner in, right? If he punches that game winner in on that last drive, as opposed to waiting one more play to go to Mecole Hardman, I think Travis Kelsey probably becomes the first tight end to win a Super Bowl MVP, because I believe that would have pushed him over 100 yards. And I believe that the touchdown that sealed it would have been enough. But without Kelsey getting in, and with so many different guys, right? There wasn't a guy that jumped off the page. 93 yards, yeah, but Mecole had 57. Watson had 54. Rasheed had 39. Pacheco had 33. You had so many Chiefs get the ball. I think you had like 11 different guys catch the ball for Kansas City, and they spread it around so much. It kind of felt like they had to give it to Mahomes, because there wasn't really anybody else that stood out. I mean, Nick Bolton had 13 tackles on the night, and a couple of quarterback hits, but no turnovers there, so you can't really give it there. I think if you're we read through the Super Bowl MVPs on Friday. Most of the Super Bowl MVPs over the years had a turnover or two if they came from the defensive side of the football. There really wasn't that guy for Kansas City. I mean, Nick Bolton was the best. He had 13 tackles, 5 of them solo, a couple of quarterback hits, but no sacks. Just one of those 13 was a tackle for a loss. Like, I don't know who else you could have given it to. And the MVP is basically Zoe. If nobody jumps off the page anywhere else, then a quarterback who doesn't turn it over 3 times wins.
Yeah, unless they only threw for like 100 yards or something like that. But he had a pretty good game.
Good game. You had 333 and then, 60 on the ground? Lead your team in rushing. I mean, that's going to do it for you. I still think CMC was the MVP of that game, and I know that San Francisco didn't win, but my dude went 160 yards and a touch, you know? In a game that one snap of the ball, if the field goal or if the extra point's not blocked, San Francisco probably wins the game. If they don't fumble the punt, they got a much better chance at winning the game. That was a game where 2 or 3 plays, and most games are, but any one of those 2 or 3 different plays goes the other way, and San Francisco wins, and Christian McCaffrey is the MVP. I would not have had a problem giving it to a player off the losing team, because McCaffrey was a dog last night. But we talked a lot of Super Bowl. We're going to play a lot more Super Bowl. Let's get to item number 2. Caitlin Clark's quest for history took her to Lincoln, Nebraska yesterday. She went into the game needing 39 points to become the NCAA's all-time leading scorer. She needed 8 points when the Iowa Hawkeyes entered into the final quarter of play. She needed 8 points when the fourth quarter of play concluded. for Caitlin Clark, who had 31 going into the fourth. It was the first time that Caitlin Clark lost to Nebraska in her Iowa career. She did not put up a point in the fourth, the first time in her entire career that she played the entire fourth quarter without scoring. She went 0 for 6 down the stretch, tying her worst shooting in any fourth quarter of her 4-year career. She previously went 0 of 6 in the final period of an NCAA tournament round, second round loss to Creighton back in 2022. That loss ended her sophomore season. This one, her true senior season, she's right there in the mix. She needs just a fistful more points, not even double digits, to become the NCAA's all-time leading scorer on the women's side. But that milestone will have to wait until Thursday. The good news, she's got a good opportunity, and I suspect will break that record at home, back in front of the Hawkeye faithful, as Iowa will be at home on Thursday night hosting the Michigan Wolverines. The quest for magic, just that much short. I'm good with it. Let's see her break it on the home court. That's kind of what I wanted in the first half, right? Like, that's kind of what I wanted to happen. Let her break it in front of her fans. That's what we're going for. Let's get to item number 3, shall we? Let's talk a little basketball over the weekend for the Palmetto State, as we have now begun to transition ourselves into basketball season. March Madness, just a handful of weeks away. The conference tournaments are about 2 weeks away at this point. So we turn our attention towards the hardwood. Let's open it up with some ACC play. The Clemson Tigers got a big old win over the North Carolina Tar Heels last week. They wanted to go on the road to Syracuse and keep that momentum. Why? Because going into that game at 16-6, at 5-6 in the Atlantic Coast Conference, and in a pretty good ACC, it felt like Clemson was right there on the bubble. And it felt like, I said on Friday, it's a firm bubble, okay? It's a firm bubble. If the bubble is a spectrum, you're on the good side of it. But I felt like they could not drop any more of the gimme games. And not that Syracuse on the road at the Orange's house is a gimme game, but compared to some of the other ones that they have been through, including that win over North Carolina, this did kind of feel like a must win. Well, they must win it. 77-68 is your final. Shefflin 13, Hall 15, Hunter 14, Gerard III 18. 4 out of 5 starters for Clemson end up in double digits. The Tigers shot on the road 61% from the floor, 43% from the arc, and 70% from the stripe. Those are real good numbers. They also held Syracuse to less than 40% from deep, to less than 31%, less than 40% from the field, less than 31% from deep, and allowed Cuse to take only 15 free throws. They knocked down 11 of them. Everything looked real good for Clemson in a win on the road on Saturday. Coming up in an hour and 20 minutes, John Blau from the Post and Courier is going to join us at 8:40, and we will talk about that win for Clemson. Over on the other side of the state, the Gamecocks of South Carolina had themselves another big game this weekend. Listen, Vanderbilt is not one of the scariest teams in the SEC. That was a team that entered this contest with just 6 wins. They would leave the contest with just 6 wins. Vandy knew what they were up against at 1-9 in conference. South Carolina let them hang around maybe a little bit longer than I would have liked. It was 32-28 with the doors out front at halftime, and a lot of us got a little apprehensive. No pressure in this one. And because there's no pressure, South Carolina maybe took their foot off the gas, and they put it back down squarely in the second half. Gave up just 28 in the second half, scored 47 en route to a 75-60 final in that one. And Colin Murray Boyles, 31 points, 14 of 17 from the floor, 3 of 3 from the stripe, had 7 boards, 2 assists, a steal, and a block to his name as well. The Gamecocks shot 52% from the floor. They went 9 of 29 from deep, only got 8 shots off the charity stripe, not down 6 of them. But when you've got a guy like Murray Boyles, who, we've been spending time talking about Michi, talking about BJ Mack, Murray Boyles getting involved and opening up the offense like he did, all of a sudden, this went from South Carolina could make the tournament to, and I mean this, they could win the conference tournament if they play like that. Now, again, it was against Vanderbilt. Let's not go bananas here. That's not a good Vanderbilt team. But if you're shooting like that at home against Vandy, I need you to give me 80% of that. And you're going to beat most everybody except save Tennessee and Kentucky. You play like that against Tennessee and Kentucky, up the defense a little bit, you got a shot. This team has gotten my interest and intrigue. There's your water cooler cheat sheet, the 3 stories you need to know before you clock in and start talking sports with your amigos this AM. Let us take a break. When we come back here in just a minute, we have been talking a lot of Super Bowl. We stay in the National Football League for just a few more minutes. The season hath concluded. The offseason begins. The Chicago Bears are on the clock, ladies and gentlemen. So, what does this offseason hold for the Carolina Panthers? What does the offseason hold for the rest of the NFC South? What does the offseason hold for the National Football League as we move into this year's offseason? We'll talk about it next on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
PC.
All right, guys, quick live reading. We're coming right back. Y'all stay right there, please, and thank you.
last night.
I watched it right before I went to bed. So you've seen the trailer. I knew they were going to start positioning him in. Scratch that. I didn't know how they were going to start positioning him in the MCU. But to have the TVA show up right out of the gate, I was like, oh, that opens up a lot of possibilities here. I'm really hoping for like just everybody to make a cameo. Just everybody in the universe make a cameo.
So far, there's already reports of a bunch of people.
Let's go.
And of course, speculation that you'll see Fantastic Four for the first time. They say that after every movie.
Yeah.
Okay, no flying cars, but as soon as they get invented, they'll be on Auto Trader. Just you wait. Auto Trader.
I'm Tony, and this is the Tony Kornheiser Show. Wow, that makes it sound a bit more serious than it really is. So what exactly is the show about? It's been almost 30 years, and I still don't know. Right now, we have...
All right, stream. How's everybody? Did y'all get some sleep last night? Can we agree just move the game to Saturday? I'm begging you, America.
Listen on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcast.
Still can't believe I got that Raiders of the Lost Ark pop for $8.
You got what?
I sent you a text.
Oh, yeah, the Pop Funko.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
look.
You
No,
said
look.
pop. You call soda pop. I got very confused.
This is big.
Yeah.
For it, and it's heavy. The
Borderlands?
Yeah, the rock is heavy
It's a
as a rock. Yeah.
Chris Phillip joins us, and so much more. Number one for real afternoon sports talk.
Offsides with Mark Ryan.
3 to 7 on the fan.
Upstate.
Sound off on the text line.
71307. Keyword fan.
You're listening to the Tom Brady Show.
Upstate.
Hey, Big Daddy, how you doing?
Real good. Real good. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The Rob Brown Show is on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. Venus and Pitt Show, 844-326-3663 is the number. I am very confused about Kyle Shanahan now. Because on one hand, San Francisco built a juggernaut. And they did it around Brock Purdy. I have made the argument before, and I don't think it's a bad argument, and I think the argument stands true despite this team being in, albeit losing, the Super Bowl. Last night, you saw a football team with an immense amount of talent that came up short offensively too many times. That's what it was. To me, and I heard somebody say at the conclusion of the broadcast, Brock Purdy didn't lose this game. Patrick Mahomes won it. And I kind of disagree a little bit because I can't fathom how people looked at the conglomeration of talent across that San Francisco offense, saw the dramatic shift in play calling from first half to second half for San Francisco, and don't feel like that was a massively missed opportunity. Yes, Patrick Mahomes was out there, especially late in the game, dropping dimes to win it. But I'm going to stay with San Francisco should have had that game out of reach. If you can hold the Kansas City Chiefs to a spot where they are sitting on 3 points at halftime, you should be able to win that football contest. San Francisco dominated the first half of that football game and walked out with a 7-point lead. That's not good enough. And listen, we came into this talking about it. Kansas City's defense is real good. They were, depending on what ranking you look at, anywhere from 1 to 4 in terms of total defense during the regular season. It was real good. This is not me out there trying to pass the buck, to pass the blame. What I am saying here is that even against the best defense in the NFL, if you can hold the other team to 3, and you have as much, I wouldn't say this about a lot of NFL offense. I wouldn't say this about the Saints. I wouldn't say this about the Panthers. Hell, I wouldn't have said it about the Buccaneers. I would say it about San Francisco, Buffalo, Kansas City, Baltimore, maybe Detroit. It's not a long list that I would say this about. But if you can hold a playoff team to 3 points and a half, you have got to leave that half with a double-digit lead. You just have to. And San Francisco had plenty of chances. Christian McCaffrey fumbled on the opening drive. What's that game look like if San Francisco scores on that opening drive? Entirely different. Entirely different. Because it would have been, to me, it had been a situation where Kansas City would have come in with a game plan, but that game plan may have probably been altered if they get the ball already down 7. Now, Kyle Shanahan has nothing to do with Christian McCaffrey fumbling the football. I look at head coaches a lot the same way I look at quarterbacks. I need some of y'all to stop putting stuff on them that ain't on them. Shanahan called an opening drive that got San Francisco in the red zone, set them up with a chance to draw first blood, and they turned the ball over. That's not on Kyle Shanahan. What is on Kyle Shanahan is when Christian McCaffrey is gashing the Chiefs. When Christian McCaffrey is averaging in the first half up over 4.5 yards a carry, and then you come out in the second half and all of a sudden you feel like you got to have Brock Purdy throw it 38 times. I said going into this game, I truly felt like the team that established the run was going to win the game. It felt like San Francisco established the run early, and then for whatever reason, they stopped. They stopped. It was like second half, they decided, well, let's let Brock prove himself. And I did not feel that that was the right call. You have on your side of the football, wearing number 23, the best running back in the National Football League. There's a lot of good running backs in the National Football League. If you gave me a fantasy roster build right now, I'm taking Christian McCaffrey, not a question mark.
They said last night he led the league in rushing yards, and I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
He quietly, won the title, as rushing title.
If Lamar Jackson had help in Baltimore, Christian McCaffrey would have been your NFL MVP. Zay Flowers and a coaching staff in Baltimore that forgot Gus Johnson was on the team. If he had more help in Baltimore, Christian McCaffrey would have been the MVP. That's how good of a year he had. Out of the running back spot, he would have beat out every quarterback.
Not to defend Kyle Shanahan, but he's not the first coach to just go completely away from something working.
Oh, no, he's not.
It never makes sense why they do that, but you think second half adjustments, maybe the defense stopped them from being able to do what they were doing, but they just kind of just went away from it.
Yeah, they just stopped doing it. It's one thing if you establish the run in the first half and you come out the second half and Kansas City's defense just took it away from you.
Do you look at trends and go, okay, normally an Andy Reid team will make these adjustments after halftime, so we know they're going to do that, so we're going to go ahead and go this direction?
I don't know. What I do know is if something's working for 30, you don't go away from it in 31. I don't think they even tried it in the second half. Now, I will, I watched this game one time. I have not done my rewatch because it ended very late and I was tired. Okay. I'm going to do my rewatch today. But in my first watch, back when we were in the old spot, I would have woken up this morning and I would have watched the game again on the All-22 cam. I will do that this afternoon. On the rewatch, I'm curious to see what Kansas City did differently defensively. But I didn't see anything last night. There are times, and this is something that frustrates me greatly with a lot of coaches. It feels like there are times when they get away from the thing that's working because they think the other team is going to stop it. It's like, make them prove it, right? Make them prove it. Christian McCaffrey, couple of ends arounds, couple of sweeps, couple of swings, couple of screens, had success. And then it felt like in the second half, you know what it felt like to me, and this is what I told the lady friend when we were watching the game the second half at the house last night. I said, you know what it feels like to me? It feels like to me the conversation all week has been about playoff Patrick. It feels to me like the conversation all week has been, you can't bet against Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. And it felt to me like Kyle Shanahan kind of took that personally. And it felt to me like Kyle Shanahan kind of was like, hey, Brock, go get your MVP. Go win this game and go get your MVP. And it felt to me in the second half like Kyle Shanahan was trying to send a personal love letter to Cam Newton going, who's the game manager now, dog? That's what it felt like. It felt to me like Kyle Shanahan was trying to prove a point that Brock Purdy is in the conversation with Patrick Mahomes. And I'm not saying he's not. He took this team to a Super Bowl. He did it with an immense amount of talent around him. He did it with an amount of talent that I think there are more quarterbacks that get credit. Scratch that. I think there are a lot of quarterbacks who don't get credit, who, if they were plugged into that offense with that much talent, would have done the same thing. But Brock Purdy had great poise last night, dropped dimes last night. By the way, apparently I said Gus Edwards again. What do you want? I'm a big Gus Edwards guy.
You did.
I'm a big Gus Edwards guy. The Gus Bus, Gus Johnson. You know who I meant. It felt to me like Kyle Shanahan was saying, hey, this is our dog. This is our guy. This is our QB, and we're going to let him shine. It's like, that's not what works, man. That's not what works. What works is a run game first mentality with the best running back in the league opening up the field for Purdy. I think this is what I have been screaming for 5 weeks when Cam Newton said game manager, and everybody took that as the biggest insult in the history of the National Football League. Is Brock Purdy a game manager? Yes. So are a lot of, if not the majority of quarterbacks who have won a Super Bowl before. Lonzo has talked me into the opinion that Tom Brady is a game manager. The best game manager ever, but a game manager nonetheless. Drew Brees, game manager. Peyton Manning, game manager. I think that San Francisco got to where San Francisco got with a run-first mentality that then opened up the field for Brock Purdy, who has great poise, great touch, great finesse. I'm not arguing any of that. But when you got to the second half and you stopped relying on McCaffrey to tote the rock, all of a sudden the Chiefs' defense looked like the Chiefs' defense. Kyle Shanahan said going into that game that he wanted 30 rushes in the first half. They finished the game with 31. The majority of which came early. They finished the game with 31, and for whatever reason, when they got to like 20, 22, 23, Shanahan said, okay, it's Brock time. Down, Purdy time. And that ain't going to get it. Your success came from running the ball to set up the pass, not throwing the ball to set up the run. You have the best running back in the National Football League, and you stopped utilizing him. And then in the second half, when McCaffrey touched the ball, remember that screen end around that he took it down the sideline, changed the game. You went to him, it worked, and then you didn't went to him anymore. Make it make sense, Kyle. Make it make sense. Tell me why. Because it ain't nothing but a heartbreak right now. Tell me why. Nothing but a mistake. Tell me why, Kyle. I didn't get it. I didn't understand it last night. I don't understand it this morning. And the unfortunate conclusion to all of this is that Kyle Shanahan is about to spend the next 12 months of his life being labeled a choke artist. Because it's the third Super Bowl that he's been a coordinator above. It is the third Super Bowl that his team, Atlanta once, San Francisco twice, blew a double-digit lead late in the game.
So I get a text last night from one person, and it was Brandon, Atlanta Falcons fan.
Noted Atlanta Falcons.
Making fun of Shanahan.
I get it. 28-3, Kyle Shanahan was the offensive coordinator of that Atlanta team. You remember that Atlanta team that ran it up to 28 and then was allergic to the end zone after that? He was the head coach 2 years ago when Kansas City was down 10 and won the game. He was the head coach last night when Kansas City was down 10 and won the game. Kyle Shanahan is about to spend 12 months being labeled a choke artist, and even I, the defender of NFL coaches who feel like they are off-handed too much of the blame, can't defend him from this, man. Can't defend him from it. You built up a lead, and then you stopped doing the thing that got it for you. You were afraid of Andy Reid. It's just that simple, bro. It really is. Let's take a break. Come back. Wrap up hour 2. John Blau of the Post and Courier joins us in an hour to talk Clemson basketball, and we have got to switch it up because it's, well, basketball season. Pitchers and catchers report on Wednesday. Daytona 500 this weekend. Ain't no off seasons on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Short break, only 2 minutes.
Okay. This Shogun show looks like it's going to be awesome.
It does look good. As long as the fighting is good. Everything else looks like it's going to be really good, but the fighting is good.
The main actress is the main character in Godzilla Legacy of Monsters, which I thoroughly enjoyed. I am a sucker for monster movies. And this one was cool because it was kind of like a mystery and also big monsters show up. And I'm a big fan of that.
As we talked about a little bit Saturday, I mean, there's an overload going on. There's so many shows that you want to watch, but
There really is.
But it's like, yeah, I'm going to get to that. Then something else new comes out to the point where you're going to miss some stuff.
Yeah.
It would be impossible to be up to date on everything. Especially if you're someone who watches things with other people, having to have those people available so you can get caught up makes it even worse.
Wrapping up our numero dos of the Rob Brown Show right here on the Fan Upstate, finishing up our Super Bowl conversation. It's your Kansas City Chiefs last night for the third time in 5 years become world champions, now on the quest for the threepeat. If they can run it back next year, Travis Kelce said, I ain't going nowhere. What do you make of Kelce with the old sideline chest bump to the walrus last night?
Well, you heard me listen to his response to that. And if you watched, forget which playoff game when Kelce came out and he was mad, he threw his helmet, you will see that Andy Reid bumped him. He hipped him, he side bumped him. That's just what they do. And the fact that I think he just caught him off guard. Should you be in your coach's face yelling like that? They do that all the time. They do. And I think Andy he's getting older, and you think, I am never going to be off balance when you get older, but you just do. And a good thing he didn't fall.
I thought he was going down, dude.
I think Travis would have caught him.
I think he's going down.
I think Travis would have caught him. He wouldn't have let him fall.
So let's just call this what this is. You get away with that if you are a megastar. If that's the backup left guard, that dude's cut at halftime.
Have you ever ran towards someone and you overestimated how close they were, and you try to pull up and you still I just got all those vibes from that. Should he have done that? Should he have been in his coach's face? Never. But he did it.
The context was this. On the play before that happened, they had put Noah Gray in for Travis Kelce. And then they ran Pacheco off tackle left, which was the side Gray was on. Noah Gray kind of missed the block. He kind of olayed the block on the sideline. And the defender that Noah Gray was supposed to block inside caused a strip on Isaiah Pacheco and a turnover. And it was kind of a big game-changing moment. I think both teams had a number of times inside the red zone that the game could have shifted in their direction, and they botched it, and this was a big one. So Kelce, who was quite perturbed that he had been removed from the game, from the contest, which, by the way, tactically, I understand it, but I don't like it. Leave him in there if nothing else, so that pre-snap, the defense has got to be going, watch 87, watch 87.
Well, I get I think to a degree he's rested him. And also he hasn't been known as a blocker, but this entire playoffs, he's been out there and he's been blocking his butt off. So I think you leave him out there. But he didn't.
He didn't. And Kelce was furious.
But see, you also saw Patrick Mahomes and Rashee Rice yelling at Patrick Mahomes. People aren't making as big of a deal out of that, even though he's walking away and Mahomes is still saying stuff to him, because he was wide open, and that's what he's yelling about. And receivers are divas, so that's what they do. And I guess you could consider Kelce the same, so that's what they do.
Let me give you a thought that I had, because obviously a lot was made out of this last night, and understandably so. I come from a background, Lonzo can confirm this for you, I don't like conflict. I don't like to fight. I don't like conflict. For me, 99% of the time, unless you are impacting someone else, if it is directly at me, 99% of the time, I will walk away and let the situation cool down and come back and address it later.
There's only one circumstance where I've seen that you like to fight, and that's with me. But I don't blame you there, because I can make the Pope angry. So, I mean, I know what my skill is, and I know that I'm really good at it, and sometimes I can't control it.
So I don't like conflict. I actively avoid it. I am a wuss, and I acknowledge that. I don't like conflict. The other side of this is it's not so much I'm a wuss as if you let people cool off and think about the fight, a lot of times that is the best way that you will get somebody to go, my bad, I goofed up. Or for you to recognize, oh, it's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. And go, hey, dude, I thought about what I said to you. That's my bad. Conflict resolution is something that I list on my resume as a skill. Okay. So to me, it has always been odd when I get around people who like to fight it out. And they will tell you, hey, not everything is sunshine and rainbows and roses and kitty cats all the time. Sometimes you got to butt heads and see what happens, right? That's not my philosophy, but I understand a lot of people are that way. And I think that's the case here. Some people communicate differently with others and it works, right? Some people communicate differently with each other. I've been around people who, if there's an issue, they solve problems by butting heads, by getting after it. And that's just how it works better for them. And I think, based on, especially with the background access we have to Travis, to Trey, courtesy of the New Heights podcast, I think Kansas City is just one of those teams that there's a phrase from Step Brothers, brothers fight. That's what they do. I promise you, I don't get after other people that I talk sports with like I do Lonzo. Why do I get after Lonzo? Because brothers fight. That's what they do. They have fun. They get heated. To me, it's all fun and games and shenanigans. I think it was a situation that a lot of people overblew last night. I got no reason to defend TK here. I think it was a situation where Kansas City that's how that team communicates. We've seen, and by the way, this isn't the first time this year we've seen it. It's just the first time we've seen Andy be the receiving target of it. We have constantly seen this year Mahomes get on guys, the offensive line get on each other, Travis Kelce get on defenders. It's happened all year long. It's just the first time they went after Andy for it.
I'm just curious, all those people who are really mad about this, and I get it, should Reed have benched him the rest of the game? Should he have done that in the Super Bowl? Should he have benched him the rest of the game?
You know, listen, again, this is why I said this is something you are only getting away with if you are Travis Kelce or Patrick Mahomes. If I don't know,
Chris Jones does that. Andy Reid's going down. So
Jones,
yeah.
I don't know. Travis is a big boy. Travis is a stout fella.
He's seen Chris Jones next to him though.
I absolutely agree. I think that if this is the backup left guard, hey, why don't you head to the locker room, Chief? Why don't you hit the showers? We'll see you. We'll see you for the flight home. But it's Travis Kelce, right? Now, I will absolutely agree that it's not a good look. It's not a good look to chest bump, even if it was an accident, to be in a position where you bump up and almost knock down the coach, who, by the way, is now the oldest and maybe most out of shape head coach in the National Football League. Not a good look.
It's because of all them nuggies. I will say also.
By the way, I feel bad. Every person who talked to Andy Reid after the game offered him a cheeseburger. It's like, guys, we get it. We get it.
That's what he has said that himself. That's how he celebrates, is with the cheeseburger. So he brought.
That's fine. My dog got an entire Five Guys franchise on the field last night. Berman hit him with like a platter. I think he's got the burgers.
They actually brought hhim burgers?
He went over to the ESPN desk with Berman and
Booger.
Whoever was on with him.
Yeah,
and Booger.
Yeah.
And Berman gifted him a plate full of cheeseburgers.
So you think he's like, I'm offended? No, he probably ate the cheeseburgers. He probably took them back and enjoyed them.
All right, what's y'all's take?
As long as they didn't have confetti on them, because I'm guessing that don't taste good.
What's y'all's take from the Super Bowl last night? I don't think it was a good look for Travis, but at the flip side, Travis has never shied away from, I'm a dog. It is what it is. I'm that guy. And he balled out. For the record, after that moment, Travis Kelce took off like 85 receiving yards after he bumped Andy. I'm sure Andy's okay with that. All right, coming back in the third hour, we start taking a look at other things, including sports that's made the news. Hey, news about sports. Look at this. It's time for a sports flash.
Yeah, I just want to talk about the Super Bowl, though. It took overtime and some late game heroics, but the Kansas City Chiefs are NFL champions once again. You think I'm going to use this every time? Absolutely, I am. The repeat was secured with a 25-22 overtime win over San Francisco in the Super Bowl 58. Patrick Mahomes was awarded the MVP for a third time, going 34-46 for 333 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 pick. The Gamecocks men's program will remain ranked. when they travel to Auburn this weekend after defending Columbia from Vanderbilt with a 75-60 win. Colin Murray Boyles led all scorers with 31 on 14 of 17 from the floor, along with 7 boards. And BJ Mack knocked down 5 threes down the stretch. Tune in Wednesday at 6:30 as the Furman men's basketball team takes on VMI right here on the Fan Upstate. Yeah, Travis seemed to have a good argument as to why he should be out there, but he wasn't, and I still think he came up on him quicker than he thought, and Andy didn't see him, and that's why all that happened. I mean, him yelling at him, you still shouldn't yell at your coach that way, but he did. But old people fall. I know, because I'm an old person, and I been very close to falling a lot lately. All right, everyone falls. Just sometimes, just older people don't recover as fast. Remember when you were like in your 20s, or maybe you're in your 20s, and it seems like nothing can get you off your feet? I remember that. I missed that. Rob probably misses that too.
What's that?
When you're in your 20s and nothing could get you off your feet.
Dude.
I mean, you could turn your ankle and make it touch the ground when you step off a curb and you still don't go down. It's just something happens, and you it's probably different ages for everybody, when all of a sudden everything wants to knock you off your feet. That's why
I used to be an athlete, man.
Even so, I mean, I just that's why I was impressed by Andy Reid not falling.
Gatorade was purple. A lot of people in Vegas jumped the gun because right after the final touchdown, there was no Gatorade bath, and no Gatorade bath was like 17-1. And then they hit Andy like 3 minutes after the touchdown, and Vegas counted it.
Well, they should, because it's still after. I mean, I was wondering why they didn't show it until they showed it. Lots of people saying Jermaine Dupri looked like CeeLo Green.
I didn't recognize who it was.
Yeah, I don't. I forgot what Jermaine Dupri looked like. So I kept looking at the guy going, who is that? Should I know who that is? The helmet is kind of cool, but I mean, who is that?
It's all good, Steven. I'm going to tell you what. Why don't we put that on reserve? Because your boy is now sitting all over 200 days until a wedding, and I got 50 LBs to drop. So I'm gonna let you off the hook for the donuts, Steven. I'm just gonna take pride in my Chiefs money line pick.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you coming through and owning up on your bet, because there are a lot of people who don't do that.
Another example of the best businesses in the world. Turning to the best in the business for websites. Go to AmericanEagle.com or call 877-WEB-NOW1. That's 877.
Wow, is it 8 o'clock already? Smith and James in the first break.
number 3 of the Rob Brown Show goes now. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the Fan Upstate. Welcome back. Great to have you, Rob Brown and the great one, Lonzo, with you here on a dreary Upstate Monday morning, though we welcome all of you listening around the world.
I'm talking to America here.
On the Odyssey app at thefanupstate.com, wherever you might be listening to us globally. We are glad to have you. Been spending, obviously, most of our morning on yesterday's NFL championship game. The San Francisco 49ers fall to the Kansas City Chiefs in OT, 25-22, your final. Rob and Lonzo both said 24-21 Chiefs. We were all bleeping over it.
What do you think about My Way as the opening for the Super Bowl? I mean, what demographic are they trying to hit with that?
It's Vegas, dude. It's Vegas.
Okay, but
there's nothing more Vegas than the chairman.
Okay.
Just nothing.
All right. I guess I didn't think about it that way. I'm just thinking about, young people tuning in and going, who's that?
I think you also had the crossover connection because one of Usher's biggest songs is called My Way as well.
Did he do that song? Because
I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know.
Because I know there's a medley and I couldn't
I know the Usher songs that make it to the radio.
Yeah.
Nothing past that. And that's because
I said on purpose.
Yeah. That's just I was
WWE tweeted out their favorite Usher song. And they just showed LA. They just showed LA Night. That was great.
I'm a surface level Usher fan. That's the best I can give you. Usher was not, and I said this last night, and there were some people who got real big mad at me for it. Usher wasn't for me. Okay? It's fine music. It's good music. I'm not criticizing the guy, but he wasn't for me. Dude with six-pack dancing around with no shirt on is not for me. And that's okay. Not everything's for everybody. I also recognize that Guns N' Roses and Metallica ain't for everybody. I mean, they are, but they're not.
Well, Guns N' Roses should not do a halftime show. Metallica could probably still pull it off.
Metallica could do a halftime show. Not everything's for everybody. And no, Usher, even in his prime, outside of culturally significant songs like Yeah, and for the record, that song made by Little John and Luda, not Usher. Outside of the stuff that made it to the radio, Usher wasn't for me. And so maybe that's part of the reason I thought Usher's halftime show was fine. It was good. For what it was good. Do I have it on the Mount Rushmore of halftime shows? No. It's Prince 1. It's last year's LA rap-based 2. I mean, we can fist fight as to who the other 2 were. Usher's not on my Mount Rushmore. It was good. It was entertaining. Do I think it was up there with Prince? No, I don't. I think it was entertaining. And that's it. But I also recognize, again, Usher's not for... I didn't think it was kind of an interesting choice, right? Because Usher's top-notch stuff was 12 to 20 years ago.
I was going to ask about... Yeah, but that's kind of what they historically have done in the Super Bowl is artists that are established, have been around for a while, and are not really doing a whole lot at the time.
I agree, but even with that being the case, because last year's Super Bowl halftime show was for me. That was for me. That was for my demo for everybody. Like I said, Usher just wasn't for me. And the fact that I was at a Super Bowl party that had about 12 guys and 12 gals, when Usher took his shirt off, every 40-ish-year-old lady in the game lost her mind. It wasn't for me, and that's okay. Doesn't need to be. The game's for me. That's where my entertainment was. So, good game. Decent halftime show. Texter says, best game I've seen in a long time. Halftime show was dripping with nostalgia. Took me back to every high school dance. Yeah. Yeah. I thought it was good. I popped for Luda and Lil Jon for sure. Outside of that, it was a bunch of songs that I had heard some before and knew them. I had heard some and had no idea what he was singing, and that's okay. I recognize I've entered old man territory. That it's just not. Usher was in his prime during and right after I got out of college.
So wait till you reach the point where you go, I don't even know who that is. I haven't reached that point. I mean, I don't listen to a lot of new music anymore, but I still kind of have an idea of who, even though I still don't know who Ice Spice is, but that's fine. She was very emotionless. You know, did she even know what was going on?
She struck me as I'm in the box of influencers, right?
Okay.
I'm here so I can
right.
get some camera time.
Right.
By the way, there was one. I shouldn't bring this up, but I'm going to. I don't know who it was, but they showed Taylor after the touchdown, the game winner, and there was a lady next to. There were two people that drove me up a wall. There was a lady to Taylor Swift's right who had black hair. And you could see when the touchdown got scored, they're all celebrating. Travis is hugging, Taylor is hugging, Brittany and whoever else. And this lady is like doing everything she can to get her arm around Taylor. And she's got her phone like this videoing herself with Taylor Swift. And I'm like, dude, just like be in that I'm not put your phone down and be in the moment guy. Like whatever. If you want to waste opportunities to live your life, that's on you. But like very clearly, you're just doing this so that you can get online and go, look, I was with Taylor. And then there was a guy, and I don't know who it was. I would not be shocked to find out it was Jackson. But there was a guy like two people down after the touchdown who was fighting to get next to Taylor for his screen time. I mean, fighting, like pushing through a crowd to get to where Taylor Swift was. I don't know who it was, but fighting to get over there. And I don't know who it was for any other reason to say it was probably somebody famous, and I just don't know who it was.
Yeah, because just about everybody in there is famous or related to someone. Yeah.
And that's it. That's it.
Like the booth with LeBron and Gwen Stefani and all those people.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, coincidentally, Stephen A. Smith happens to show up. It's like, yeah, of course you did, bud.
You're jealous.
Of course you did.
You're so jealous.
I know Stephen A. Smith personally.
You wish you could show up and just jump in that booth.
Listen.
I don't. I'd be so starstruck. I'd be standing in the corner going, my God, why did I come in here?
I am of and remain in the hate the game, not the player mentality. I'm not mad at Stephen A. Smith for knowing how to play the game. I said last night, to the chagrin and animosity of many ladies in the room that I was in, Taylor Swift, of whom I'm a fan. She's one of 3 people who have 2 drops on my board. It's her, Jim Harbaugh, The Rock, and Charles Barkley are the only ones that have 2 drops on the board, right? I'm a Taylor Swift fan, but I'm also not going to sit here. I'm a Kiss fan too. I'm not going to sit here and tell you they blow me away with like incredibly deep music. They're great marketers. They're great marketers. And that's it. I can't hate the player. I hate the game. And that's what it was. I'm like, can you just let her celebrate? Her man just won a Super Bowl. Let her celebrate.
You didn't say that. Tell me you did not just say that.
This was on me. My bad.
Texture said first half of the halftime show, meh. Second half, when Luda came out, was good. I agree.
It definitely picked up. Best. It picked up when he came out. As soon as I was like, oh, okay. I know who that is. This is good.
When Lil Jon showed up in the crowd, I was like, now it's time to pop. Peace up. A-Town. Now it's time to go. But that was also, I will also say, that was great one. The song of Spring Break 03, when Rob Brown was a fresh college student cruising the Miracle Strip of Panama City Beach, Florida during spring break, hanging out the back window of my buddy Andrew's Suburban.
You're talking about Turn Down for What, right?
No, I'm talking about, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because that was one of those songs that I played at the beginning of this station because it did not fit on the show that I was on. No, I will do that to clash with people going, why is that being played here? I thought it was good. I mean, it just wasn't great.
Yeah, it was good.
And
it was fine.
Just like when The Weeknd did it. I liked The Weeknd.
It was fine.
I thought it was good.
Yeah.
It wasn't great.
It was fine.
And it's not that, well, you just don't like that style of music. It's like, but That's not true. I have no idea who I would like to see do the Super Bowl either.
Foo Fighters. That's it. That's the list for me. Foo Fighters.
I mean, they would do an excellent job, I'm sure.
Oh, wait. There is one more part I've got to give it up for. I got to give it up for her. The lady that played the guitar. Her.
Oh, yeah.
She was
that was her.
Yeah,
I was trying to figure out who that was.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man.
By the way, what a damn great name to give yourself.
Yeah.
Who's that? That's her. That's great. She ripped, dude. Her little solo when they transitioned between songs was phenomenal. Alicia Keys was great. Basically, here's how it ended for me. Usher was fine. Every cameo was perfect. Alicia's cameo was perfect. Hers cameo was perfect.
So would you say that Usher was a game manager?
Yeah, he was the Brock Purdy of halftime shows.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, he did good enough to make it a good show, but he got surrounded by the skill position talent. And I'll tell you, the dances, again, were fine. The dances were good. I can't move like Usher. I'm not even going to try. I would pull I would greenlaw myself. Right?
I was wondering if you're going to go there, just running off the sidelines.
I would dray myself for sure. The dances were fine, although it was the first time in a long time. I'm like, you probably should have lip synced right there, buddy. Probably should have lip synced that part because you could hear the breath out of the now 47-year-old Usher. I could hear it. So
my wife was like, "Oh, it's just the lights." Why he was sweating like that? I was like, "No, that's not what it is. My dude is tired."
Yeah, I thought that's a good call. Usher was the Brock Purdy of halftime shows. He facilitated greatness around him. That's what he did. He was carried. He set a platform where the skill could carry him. That's what I thought he did last night. Texter texted and just said, sports with 8 exclamation points like we haven't spent 2 hours on it.
Thanks, Ray.
Welcome back, Ray. We missed you.
Good to know you. How about Alicia Keys' piano? That thing was
great.
Yeah, that was sweet looking. And the cape or whatever.
That was gnarly. That was good look. And the choreograph on roller skates was really cool for everybody except Usher, whose whole game plan was don't fall.
I was disappointed because you're going to come out in that small space. I want to see roller derby because that's basically what that was. That little space, there should be some elbows thrown, some things like that.
The talent in that spot is not knocking the hell out of each other while dancing on roller skates. All right. We have talked a lot of
They keep showing this part where the lady fell off the pole. Did you see that?
Okay. As as someone who may or may not have
seen movies with those sort of things on.
Yeah. That doesn't make it much better if we're being honest.
Well, I mean, maybe you saw Striptease with Demi Moore in it.
That's it. As somebody who saw Showgirls with Jesse Spano in it.
I don't know if you probably should have skipped that one, but you know.
Love Showgirls. As somebody who is partaken in other people's bachelor parties, let's just leave it there. She did not fall off the pole. That is a genuine exotic dance talent to be able to be at the top, slide down, and stop yourself right before you hit the ground.
Dude, I've seen the video, and it looked like she fell.
I know. That's the skill.
Okay, so you're saying below camera level, she caught herself.
Correct.
Okay, all right.
It's a bona fide talent move to be able to climb to the top of a pole, slide down it rapidly, and catch yourself right before you hit the ground. I'm going to tell you right now, some of the greatest athletes I have ever seen in my life wear G-strings as a uniform, and I'll just leave it there.
I didn't know if maybe she fell off the pole, the stage, and they just like pushed her underneath the stage and then found her later or something.
That is a talent. Some of the greatest athletes I have seen in my life wear tassels, and I'll leave it right there.
You mean cheerleaders? Tassels on the batons.
Yeah, no, that's it. That's definitely what I meant. All right, let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute, we got a lot of things we need to get to, including some college basketball. South Carolina, Clemson, both catching big dubs this weekend. Clemson on the road up at Cuse. The Carolina Gamecocks defending the house against Vandy, and now both of them come up against their toughest remaining challenge. Clemson gets another crack at Miami, and South Carolina on the road at Auburn. Auburn, by the way, catching the L against Florida this weekend. So all of a sudden, Carolina has the momentum in a top 25 matchup on the road at Auburn. We'll break that down. John Blau with the Post and Courier joins us at 8:40 to talk Clemson basketball. We got it all coming up on the Rob Brown Sports Show. Sports! This is the Fan Upstate.
Smith.
All right, guys, live read right here, and we're coming right back. Stay right there. ball that I thought they were, yes, on the bubble, but I thought they were on a very firm bubble. I thought they were on a bubble that had a lesser chance of popping than a lot of other teams being described as bubble teams. The win over a 15-8 at the time Syracuse Orange, to me, I am not going to say locked them in. I am going to say of the bubble teams, Clemson is at the top right now. I think of the bubble teams, Clemson's at the top. I think that there is a better chance that they are in than that they are not right now. Bracketology at this point does have Clemson in as a 7 seed out of the Midwest. But they just put them in after the Syracuse win. They've got them opening up against the 10 seed Florida out of the same bracket as Kansas down in Omaha in the regional. That is the bracket that has number 1 overall seed Purdue up top. Duke is in the bracket that Clemson is in right now. According to bracketology, they would not square off with Duke until the Sweet 16 if they made it there. Until the Elite 8 if they made it there. I think Clemson is right there. But now they've got what I think is the probably largest remaining game, the biggest remaining game on the schedule. They've got a matchup on Wednesday against Miami. Miami is 6-7 in the ACC. I am handing some bonus points out right now to the ACC because despite the fact that, and this drives me nuts, they are probably getting 4 in. South Carolina and the SEC probably getting 7. I do think, and I'll ask John Blau about this coming up in the next segment, I do think the ACC is cannibalized a little bit itself this season. Miami is a part of the reason why. Virginia, who, by the way, Miami's lost 2 in a row. They lost at Virginia, scored 38 points in that game. This is a game that, to me, as much as I like what Clemson did in the last one against Cuse, as much as I like seeing this team getting it going from inside out play, Clemson shot 14 threes in this last game. Syracuse shot 23, if you want to mark that stat. Clemson shot 51 field goals. They shot 61%. This team has played better when they're playing inside-out basketball. But I want to see a defense that does like it did against Syracuse and held Syracuse to less than 40% from the floor, less than 31% from deep. That's how you beat this Miami team. Miami did put 72 up against number 3 North Carolina, a game that they lost 75-72. That's the same North Carolina team that Clemson went to their house and beat them last week. This Miami game looms large because I'm looking down the rest of the schedule of the regular season for Clemson. After Miami, you've got NC State. That is a Wolfpack team that is 7-6 in conference, 15-9 overall. It's a decent-sized game, but it's at home. You're at Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech is a team that is only 3-10 in conference, but much like Clemson, has some heartbreakers. They've also got some atrocious games. That game was it last week, where they started 1 of 23 from the floor. You're not getting any credit for that Georgia Tech win. You do have Florida State on February 24th, but FSU, 13-10, had a weak start to the year, bounced back a little bit, but they just lost to Virginia. You're not getting a ton of credit or as much credit as I thought you would have preseason out of FSU. And then you end with Pitt, Notre Dame, back home for Syracuse, and then at Wake Forest. That Wake Forest game is a big one. Wake Forest 8-4 in conference. But I think the Miami game coming up on Wednesday feels like a big one to me. Because it feels like if you can get the win against Miami, if you can get the win against NC State, then you earn a little bit of forgiveness if you drop one against Wake. or if you drop one against FSU. I wouldn't recommend that. But if you drop one of those, you end up in a spot where you've got a little bit of cushion to play with. I think that Clemson has basically hit a point for me where it is win the ones you're favored in, and you are definitely in. Bracketology has you in. I've got Clemson in, probably in my next 4 in. I'm not hurt by anybody who says that they are in. I think they're going to need to finish out relatively strong. And I think if they do, they are going to be in. We'll talk with John Blau coming up here in the next segment about that. South Carolina, on the other hand, is in at this point. They get that win over Vanderbilt at the house. I think that's a big one. South Carolina, according to Bracketology, in right now as a 5 seed in that dangerous 12-5 matchup. They got McNeese State in AQ in the first round. They would catch, if they win that, probably Iowa State in the second round, your 4 seed. They're in the bracket with UConn. They are in the bracket with the 2 seed North Carolina, the 3 seed Illinois, the 4 seed Iowa State. South Carolina is the 5 seed. They are in at this point. There's no question about that. You were talking about a team that's on a 7-game win streak right now. And all of the sudden, traveling to Auburn, you got a chance to do something special here. Now, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, Auburn's the favorite in this game. Auburn's, I'm going to guess, probably going to open as like a 5.5-point favorite over South Carolina. ESPN's analytics gives Auburn a 90% chance to win this game. Same Auburn team that lost this weekend to Florida. Same Auburn team that, yes, they did beat Alabama 99-81, and that is a big one. Florida's 6-4 in conference. They're 16-7 overall. They're a good team. But there was no reason for Auburn to lose this game, except for they shot 17% from deep. So that says to me, is South Carolina's going to win this game, they got to do it in a track meet. They've got to set the tone. They've got to try to get Auburn panicky. They got to try to get Auburn lifting up a bunch of threes. Auburn shot 3 of 17 from deep, 24 of 57 from the floor for a 42% shooting percentage. They went to the stripe 26 times. South Carolina, to me, has a very simple game plan here. We want to play fast. We want to create a situation where Auburn feels like they have to knock down 3-pointers. We need to create a situation where we are playing clean basketball. I cannot send Auburn to the foul stripe 26 times in this game. The other side of that is Auburn did have to play fast against Florida. 81-65, by the way, your final. It wasn't like it was a close loss. It was a game where Florida played fast from the beginning. They went to the stripe 26 times, too. They were 20 of 26 from the charity stripe. There's your game plan if you're South Carolina. I want to play fast. I want Auburn to have to lift a bunch of threes. I'm going to play tight pack defense, make them shoot the lights out, and stay there until Auburn shows me they can connect. Now, it was an away game at Florida. This one's going to be in Opelika. But until Auburn shows me the 3-point shot is back, if they're going to go 3 of 17, I will let them lift up trays all day long. But the pressure on this game falls squarely on the shoulders of BJ Mack. I need that guy to end with nearly as many offensive rebounds or defensive rebounds as he has points. I need him in that ballpark of like 18-14 points to rebounds. I want to play from the inside out. I want to force Auburn to play from the outside in. I'm going to pack in the defense. I need to clean the glass in this game. I want Auburn shooting 17, 18, 20, 23, 25 3-pointers in this game. And until they show me they're knocking them down, you're not getting the ball in the paint. I will 2-3 zone you to death to lock down the paint if you're going to go 3 of 17 from the stripe. You are going to be dogs in this game, but it is not unwinnable. You win this, maybe a 4 seed, maybe a 3 seed is in your future. Maybe a bit of a more friendly situation. Hey, real quick before we go to the break, Lonzo, I'm going to need you to hit the glass, man, because we got a Woj bomb. This is a big one, too. I know. This is really exciting. Breaking news brought to you by our friends at BetQL. Be a better, be smarter, and beat the books with the BetQL app. And don't forget to listen to Bet for the Cycle every Saturday from noon to 4 on the BetQL network, where Team Talent's back, baby. Knocked down the 3-leg parlay in the Super Bowl last night. I'll tell you about that later in the show. Also knocked down 75 Nuggets on Saturday and wanted to die.
That's what we all want to hear about.
Don't worry. I'll open up with that story. In the meantime, according to Adrian Wojnarowski, Mitch Kupchak is stepping down as president of basketball operations for the Charlotte Hornets, stepping down to become an organizational advisor, clearing way for the franchise to begin an immediate search for a new head of basketball operations. There is an expectation that the owners of the Hornets will hire a new top basketball executive prior to the end of the regular season, allowing Kupchak to remain in his day-to-day role until his successor is on board. I wasn't upset with the direction of the franchise right now. They're not good, but I wasn't upset with the direction they were in. It just feels like that's kind of been where the Hornets have been for a few years now. Like, oh, we're in the right direction. We're just spinning our wheels while we're pointed there.
So you're getting demoted, and you got to stay in your job till they fill your position.
Well, he's staying with the franchise, is my understanding.
Isn't it it's a demotion?
It's a demotion for sure. Question is, did he demote himself, or did the owners come to him and go, this isn't the right spot? I don't know. So there you go. Mitch Kupchak stepping down as president of basketball operations for the Hornets. We'll talk about that in the next hour of the show, but we got to go to a break. When we come back, John Blau of the Post and Courier joins us to talk a little Clemson shooty hoops. That's next on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. All right, guys, we're going to step away for a minute while we get John lined up. Y'all stay right there. We'll be right back. Tell me this. So easy a caveman can do it. Why does he have to study so much? The Monday morning edition of the Rob Brown Show rolls on, a Super Bowl Monday. And ladies and gentlemen, like it or not, it is unfortunately the truth. The end of football season, which means that it is time to listen, there's no off seasons on the Rob Brown Show. We've been talking basketball for weeks now, but now we go full throttle into the shooty hoop season and to talk Clemson ball. We now welcome to the show from the Post and Courier covering Clemson athletics, Mr. John Blau joins us. John, before we get there, are you team move the Super Bowl to Saturday night? Because Lonzo and I have hit a wall, bud.
Yeah, I think I saw somebody tweet today that the Monday after should be a national holiday just so everybody can sleep in. But I personally don't care. Whichever is good for me. I guess Sundays are the day we usually play football, so I guess we're fine.
Would you be good moving it?
Would
you be good moving it to like a late afternoon kick? If we did the Super Bowl at like 3:30, would you on board for that, or are you a hey, this is when it's been, just leave it for now guy?
Yeah, I mean to accommodate folks such as you, I would be fine with moving it to the afternoon. But again, I know that some people want their certain dishes and dinner plates and stuff. I don't know how that would complicate things. But yeah, well, a lot of things to consider, things that I've not personally considered much. But yeah, I'm fine with whatever.
I respect that take. I do. John Blatt from the Post and Courier joins us on Mondays to talk Clemson basketball. Let's start with this. Obviously, the conversation right now was the win over Syracuse, John. We talked about it last week. You said before the Carolina game, this team just needs to win a game. This team just needs to see the ball go in the hole and gain some confidence. They go on the road. They get the second win in North Carolina in 62 tries. They turn around, come back, or go back on the road up to New York, knock off Syracuse. Did they do enough to solidify a spot in the bracket for you?
Yeah, I mean, I would think right now if the season ended, they're in. And like you said, and I said, they just needed to win a game. They won that game in North Carolina. That was just huge, I think, emotionally, psychologically. Now you've won back-to-back games in the ACC for the first time this season. I mean, they go 12 games. Before that, the first 10, it was win, loss, win, loss, win, loss. They just couldn't really gain any momentum. Now that you have some of those quality wins in the non-conference that you can pair with a win like over North Carolina. Again, South Carolina, you beat Alabama. Beat the top two teams in the SEC. Yeah, you're in a good spot right now. I would think at the end of today, you would be in the tournament. They just have to finish above 500 in the ACC, I think. Get 21 wins in conference. Don't bomb out in the ACC tournament. I would think you're fine at this point.
John Blau for the Post and Courier joins us here on the Rob Brown Show on Mondays to talk Clemson athletics. What was your takeaway from that North Carolina game? They had plenty of opportunities to give it away. North Carolina went on a couple of mini runs there late in the second half, and yet in the clutch, when it got down to gut check time, PJ Hall and Shefflin and these guys, they locked down. That to me looked like a team that could threaten the rest of the ACC come tournament time. What was your biggest takeaway from that road upset?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned PJ Hall. I think having 25 points from him and 21 points from Joe Girard, you just need your big two to play to their capabilities. I mean, I think that they've had some really inefficient games or had up until that point. I mean, to see them kind of both play well at the same time was huge, and they did that again at Syracuse. Obviously, Girard went over 2,000 career points and hit, I think it was like 4 or 5 from three-point range to 18 points. But yeah, I mean, seeing those guys play well, and like you said, I think being able to hold North Carolina off. I mean, we've seen it so many times prior to that game. Having leads, not being able to hold them. Obviously, Louisville, Georgia Tech, a bunch of teams, and obviously losing those 1-point games to Virginia and Duke. I mean, they just down the stretch have not been able to make the winning plays. To be able to make those plays again, I think just psychologically huge for them. To show that they can do that they are the same team that won those games that they did at Alabama on the road. To be able to go into a tough environment like North Carolina, again, a place they've only won once before until this past game. That's now their second time ever in Chapel Hill. To see that ability to close out late and your two best players playing to the level they can play. I think those are my two biggest takeaways. And then again, just creating some momentum like they did going into the Syracuse game and winning that one as well.
John Blau from the Post and Courier here on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Individually, I love what, like we mentioned, PJ Hall's doing. I love what you're getting out of Gerard. I mean, just some absolute clutch threes in that game against Syracuse. To me, it felt like these last two games, the first time in a while that I looked at almost any combination of five that kind of felt like they organically had some chemistry. Like it wasn't forced, John. They were just kind of playing some basketball. What do you think was the biggest shift between the team that was losing 3 or 4 ACC games in a row 2 weeks ago to the team that got the road upset, that went on the road to New York, got a good win at Syracuse, and now comes home to take on Miami?
Yeah, again, PJ Hall and Joe Girard, huge, but I would shift the focus then again to Chase Hunter. I mean, he's a guy who's had a lot of ups and downs all year. I think he actually had a baby recently. I think that may have been somewhat, clouding him in terms of having some other stuff he's got to deal with in his life. But he's been really solid the last couple of games. I mean, at Syracuse, he had 14 points. He had 7 assists, only a couple of turnovers. He's been really running the show kind of to the level I think they believed he could coming into the year. Just to, again, that piece that they'll facilitate, hit a shot every now and again. It kind of takes some pressure off of the big two there. And then also, I think Jack Clark now being in that starting lineup. This is a 6th-year transfer they brought from NC State. Obviously, he played most of his career at LaSalle. Just another 6'10" body, can play defense, is pulling in about, a half dozen rebounds a game, scoring half dozen points. Just another veteran player in there with some real poise and some experience. And he's starting to kind of get up to speed as far as the offense, but defensively is mostly what he's giving you in rebounding. I think he's been a huge addition to that starting lineup. And I think now you just have a really experienced, versatile starting lineup, starting five, and you can bring Chauncey Wiggins off the bench, who's another guy who can give you a little bit of shooting. RJ Godfrey, another guy who gives you a little physicality under the rim. All of a sudden, you're a much deeper, much more experienced team. So again, I think PJ Hall, Girard, that's the top billing. But then when you get to a little more depth and a little more production from guys like Hunter and Jack Clark, this becomes a very dangerous team that, like you said, plays really well together, shares the ball, plays better defense, and makes plays, winning plays when they need to.
This Miami game, John Blau, feels big to me. I think there are games against some better teams coming up, especially after Miami built a mansion with the bricks that they were laying against Virginia the other day. But Miami is also a desperate team right now. It's a team backed into a corner. It's a team that had very high expectations coming in. They expected to be one of the premier teams in the ACC. Instead, they've just kind of been hanging around the bottom middle of the pack. I think NC State's a better team. I think Wake at the end of the year is a better team, but I don't think you can overlook Miami because I think this team is kind of a wounded animal right now that is running out of opportunities to find that turnaround moment. To me, it feels like a game that if Clemson is just locked in playing their ball, they should win, but it also kind of ups the importance level of keeping that momentum going into this one.
Yeah, I mean, this is a Miami team that when Clemson played them, scored 90-plus points in a game, was absolutely, blazing down in Miami. And then when you go and look at their game at halftime against Virginia, I think they had like 17 points at half. I mean, it's just a completely different team in terms of the way they're playing right now. But yeah, they're desperate. And I think Clemson should be equally desperate because you don't want to drop 2 games to Miami in 1 year, especially the way their season's going. That would be a blight on your tournament resume to a degree, especially at home. I know Clemson is kind of regretting kind of the UNC loss where they couldn't hit any shots, lose at a couple games at home. You really want to defend home court here, especially since you have 5 out of the last 8 at home. And it's kind of who's the desperate team who gets what they want in this situation. Because again, like you said, Miami really needs that moment. They really need that win. They obviously had success against Clemson earlier in the year, but Clemson really needs to split the series here to kind of make that loss early in the non-conference seem a little bit more like an outlier. And it really, again, established the point that they're playing much better basketball right now. They can kind of continue momentum from that UNC and Syracuse wins through this last little stretch where they gotta, again, go above 500, finish 5-3 in the last 8 or 6-2. They're a pretty good spot in the NCAA tournament. If you start to stumble a little bit, you're making things a little more shaky. So yeah, I think it's a big game for both teams because I think that either one that loses is going to be feeling a little bit of anxiety here. Whoever wins is going to feel a lot better about how things are going down the stretch in this ACC season.
So I've said, John, I think Clemson is probably, if they're not in, right there on the bubble, and it's a pretty firm bubble. If something was to go wrong that knocks them back out of the bracketology mix, is it the Miami game? Is it the NC State game coming off of what I think is going to be a physical game against Miami? What's the stumbling block between here and the Wake Forest game at the end of the year that you think would be the biggest problem for Clemson?
Yeah, again, I think losing 2 to Miami would be a little problematic. And then obviously the most obvious stumbling block is don't lose to Notre Dame on the road. That's a team that's at the bottom of the ACC. That's one of those Louisville, if you go back to last season, Clemson having that loss to Louisville, losing a game to Boston College, having a couple of those lesser ACC teams is kind of a black mark on your resume. You obviously want to avoid that. But I would say NC State's a losable game. You don't want to lose it, but that one you can kind of dismiss a little bit. If you lose to Miami, if you go on the road and lose both of your games to Georgia Tech, that's a concern, even though Georgia Tech, again, right now, it doesn't look so bad because they beat North Carolina at Duke also. But if you lose to them twice, that could be an issue. The rest of the games of Pitt, FSU, Syracuse, you've already beaten them. You'd be splitting the series to lose that game. Wake Forest is the top 40 net team right now. So, again, I think there's about room to stumble about 3 times, just depending on who it is, too. I don't think you can stumble against Notre Dame. I don't think you want to get swept by Miami and Georgia Tech in the regular season. So I think those are games you got to win. As long as you don't stumble to kind of 2 or 3 of those, I think they should be fine in terms of being able to write some of those off as just basketball. And you're going to have nights where you lose to teams like that.
The next time you and I speak, John Blau, we will have the Miami game in the rearview mirror. We'll have the NC State game in the rearview mirror. Clemson's record in those 2 when we talk next Monday will be what and why?
I'll say 2-0. I mean, I just think the way they're just playing much better basketball right now. They're starting to hit shots. Again, as long as nobody gets hurt, as long as there's a setback for like a Jack Clark or one of their top players, gets hurt, I feel like this lineup has a lot of continuity. It's playing really well together. I don't think you lose both games to Miami and NC State. Again, you're playing at home again. You now have 3 straight wins. I think if you beat Miami, there's a good chance you beat NC State too. But yeah, 1-1's possible. But if I'm a gambling person, I would say 2-0. They got a pretty good shot at that.
John Blau from the Post and Courier joins us every Monday on the Rob Brown Show to talk Clemson athletics as we are making our way towards the end of the college basketball regular season. John, my man, thanks for coming on in spite of the late Super Bowl evening. It's good to have you, brother. We'll talk to you next week.
I appreciate it. Thanks.
You got it. John Blau of the Post and Courier talks Clemson sports with us every Monday at 8:40. Coming up in the next hour of the show. On Saturday, Rob made a huge mistake, and he did it for the entertainment of the people. I will tell you how that went really poorly. And we'll take our last look, not our last look of the week, but our last look of the day, back at Lonzo getting his next Super Bowl championship. Directly responsible for it was the great one. We'll talk about that. We'll get into some baseball pitchers and catchers reporting on Wednesday. Going to be a busy final hour of the show, and it all comes after Lonzo gives you the highlight of your day, this Sports Flash.
Yeah, the Super Bowl happened because, unlike other people, I don't disrespect the Chiefs. It took overtime and some late game heroics, but the Kansas City Chiefs are NFL champions once again. The repeat was secured with a 25-22 overtime win over San Francisco in the Super Bowl 58. Patrick Mahomes was awarded the MVP for a third time, going 34 of 46 for 333 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 pick, and 66 yards on the ground. Travis Kelce had 93 yards on 9 grabs, and McCole Hardman had 57 and the game-winning overtime touchdown. Kyle Lowry was a Hornet for a very short time, agreeing to a buyout with Charlotte after being traded from Miami. Looks to join the 76ers. Tune in Wednesday at 6:30 as the Furman men's Paladins basketball team takes on VMI on Valentine's Day, right here on your home for Paladins football and basketball, The Fan, Upstate. Oh my gosh, I'm hitting that wall hard. Woo!
Highway 276, no reported issue. About a 15-20-minute drive from 185 on up to 385 in downtown Greenville. And then Highway 29, Wade Hampton Boulevard. No reported issues between Greenville and Spartanburg. From the News Talk 98.9 WORD Traffic Center, I'm George Nielsen on the Fan Upstate.
Sick and tired of achy joints? Dread the idea of surgery? You need to call.
It's one of the few times that I have problems with being on so early in the morning, is when I have to stay up a little bit later than my bedtime.
That deliver lasting results. Knee pain, back pain, shoulder pain from arthritis or injury. Don't let this pain keep you from living your best life. QC Kinetics advanced state-of-the-art treatments harness and direct your body's natural ability to restore and repair damaged joint tissue. This is a revolutionary approach that can give you long-term relief with no downtime. Make 2024 the year you reclaim your mobility. Reclaim your independence. Walk and run, play, and live without the danger and trauma of surgery and without harmful drugs. Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation. 864-448-3772. That's 864-448-3772, Greenville and Asheville.
Getting your biggest tax refund from Jackson Hewitt can lead to some spirited reactions.
Jackson Hewitt!
Jackson Hewitt is so sure they'll get you your biggest refund.
So do you have any litter tips?
Yeah, clean it daily.
Okay. That's your tip?
Clean
Okay.
it daily, because if you don't, it will start to smell like ammonia.
Ew.
Yeah, correct.
I'll go home and do it for the first time. We'll see if I can do it without throwing up, because gag reflex for smells. It's smell. I can't handle smells. So
So just remember,
I hate rodents with all my being, and poison and nothing is working. They look at the poison and go, I ain't eating that. And so finally had to get a cat to take care of the mice. So if you want to say I'm a cat guy, as long as that cat is a vicious killer and carnage is all over the house from the destruction of the rodents, I'm a cat guy.
Serious bacterial lung disease that can be life-threatening. If you're 65 or older like me, you're at increased risk. So, what's the game plan?
I don't think he has the $800 self-cleaning litter box. I think he may have. He got it on sale at Costco.
For the record, so that we're all very clear, it's not my cat. The lady cleans the litter box because it's her cat. I get to wake up at 5 a.m. and take the dog out for a walk in the rain. And that's a trade she's happy to make.
Hey, Big Daddy, how you doing?
Real good. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The final hour of the Rob Brown Show goes now. This is the Fan Upstate. Hello, Upstate South Carolina. Hello, America. What's up, world? Great to be with you.
Nope.
How we feeling? How's everybody? Everybody good? Everybody had a good Super Bowl weekend? Is everybody stupid excited for the 200 plus days of no football that way? That's not true. We got the UFL firing up.
Yeah, but we have spring football for college. We also have the NFL Combine, and we got the NFL Draft. It's spaced out to where you get to the point where, oh no, that's next week. Okay, I can wait till next week. I think they've done a good job with the spacing of where things are.
The NFL Draft is April 27th. It is mid-February. We are 2 months plus.
When is the Combine?
The Combine's 2 weeks before that? So let's see. It is March. No, the Combine's the 26th of February. Really?
So what I was
So what
I was saying, they've spaced things out fairly well.
Listen, they give you
now after the draft, then we got some months.
You a Combine guy? I'm a Combine guy.
I love the Combine. I do love how this doesn't translate to how they're going to be on the field. I know. I still want to see that fat guy running the 40. I want to see that. I want to see the vertical. I want to see the false starts and that coach always pulling back. Listen, man, dude, we're trying to help you out here. Just when you got some movement in the blocks. And do you ever run out of the blocks before?
Guys who false start in the Combine are actually smart, Lonzo. They're trying to get drafted by the Chiefs.
Is that what it is? Did you ever run out of the blocks before?
I actually have never run out of the blocks.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. It really is. And you can tell they've been coached. They get coached up before they go to the Combine. And I also like the gyms, people that can make themselves an extra millions of dollars by doing well there.
It's worth a lot of money. I'll tell you right now. If I could come out of the blocks for $1 million a year, I would do it every day. That's fact. Saturday on the Bet for the Cycle radio program.
Wait, that thing's still going on? I thought that was a baseball show.
It was a baseball show. Now it's all the things show. Mainly because we found out that our bosses think that us torturing each other is just hysterical. They think it's the funniest thing in the world. And, hey, it gets me paid. So what are you going to do? So if you don't keep track of that show on Saturdays from noon to 4, which you should, myself and Cody Decker, the host, every week take on Mario and Double D, our illustrious producers, in what we call the Parlay v Parlay Challenge. You have to build a 3-leg parlay. If one team hits and the other doesn't, there is a punishment involved. Cody and I have waxed parts of our body. We have eaten Vegemite, which is biological warfare in a can. We have done a lot of stuff. Well, neither team for like 6 consecutive weeks hit a parlay. And so 2 weeks ago, we said, all right, we're going to do one last bet. And if nobody wins, then both teams will take a punishment. That punishment being you got to eat 75 chicken. By the way, good-sized chicken nuggets over the course of the show.
You want to say where you got them from? Because if you got them from where you said you're going to get them from, I still think that was a mistake.
We got them from Mackie D's.
Which are the biggest nuggets out there.
Listen, it's a punishment. It's not lunch. It's a punishment. It had to hurt. Now,
could you have eaten 75 spicy nuggets?
I would have done that. I would have regretted it immensely because I regretted what I did already. But then to add some pop to them, that'd have been a problem. And all right, so here's how it went down. Had to throw down 75 chicken nuggets over a 4-hour span, which I am going to tell you, the mindset I went into this was no problem. No problem.
You should have tagged in Andy Reid. He loves the nuggies.
I love a nuggie. And by the way, before any of you ask, I will have you know that I am not adverse to chicken nuggets right now. I thought I was going to never want to see a nugget again in my life. I'm totally fine. Now.
So you accomplished your goal, though.
Oh, we got all 75. I got 75 down at the beginning of the final segment of the show. I ate number 75.
Way to go. Did everyone do it?
All 3 of us did it.
Wow.
All 3. Me, Mario, and Deck all did it. Double D did not have time to get his wings, so he's got to do his this week. Now, this is where the challenge came in. When we got to 50, I was hurting. I can throw back a 20-piece, no problem. No problem. Jacob in the Burgess texted, said, give me some homemade Hidden Valley Ranch and I'll eat 100 nuggies. Yeah, again, easy to say, Jacob. I thought 75 was not going to be a problem. When I got to 50, 55, 60, I was hurting. And I'll tell you why. It's because Deck and I found out that we ate about, 900% of our recommended daily sodium intake. It wasn't the calories, of which there were over 3,000 of them.
That salt's not bad for you. That's a myth. It's the breading that got you.
300+% of both our daily calories and our daily sodium intake. Now, I went into this thinking I'm going to be fine. Decker's still an athlete. Still works out twice a day, shows up on the stream with his baby t-shirts on, with his tats hanging out. Deck's still an athlete. Mario's 7 years old. He's in this prime, man. That dude should not have been hurt at all. I went into this thinking, this is my time to shine. This is the first punishment we've done where being the team fat guy is actually an advantage, not a disadvantage. It's the first time that Rob Brown is the elite athlete on the show. At 50, I was like, oh, this is not good. Not good. I'll put it this way, Lonzo. At 50, Rob had to take a restroom break.
No purging.
Nope, no purging.
Okay, all right.
We had a couple
because I think that's cheating.
We had a couple of rules. Rule 1 was if you puke, you have to do it again on a future show by yourself. If you puke, you got to run it back by yourself on a future show, whether it is induced or not. And I will tell you, there was one spot around nugget number 68 that I thought, I'm about to donate these back to the world. Not good. Was able to hold it down. We had on the table another option, which was if you puke or if you want to quit at any point, there was an exit clause. Because you asked last week, what happens if somebody doesn't finish? So we had the exit clause. If you puke, if you want to quit, or if you do not finish, you have to get a life-size tattoo of a chicken nugget somewhere on your body. Up to you where it goes. But if you puke, if you quit, or if you do not finish, you've got to get a life-size chicken nugget tattoo on your body. That was a driving motivational factor for me because I am team tattoo and I will get more as my life progresses. I have zero interest in a chicken nugget being tattooed on my body.
You have a limit? You going Max Crosby levels or are you just...
No, I'll get a healthy number. The majority of them will be in spots that can be covered up by regular clothing, but I'll get a healthy number. I've got one that isn't always covered on the inside of my left forearm. I would probably get another one on the inside of the right, but it's not going to be a chicken nugget. We got to...
Do you have to consult with others now?
Oh, for sure. There is an approval committee now.
Okay, all right.
Rob's not single anymore. There is an approval committee. And that's fine. She, like most of the ones I've thrown out there, she's good with. There's been a few. She's like, don't know about that. So when I got to 70, well, I'll go with this. At about 50, 55, somewhere in that range, we took a break, and Rob Brown had to visit the throne for a minute. Not to throw up, the other way. And I had a moment where I thought Lonzo would kill me. I missed the intro to the next segment because I was, let's just say, busy at the moment. I was occupied, as was the bathroom. Occupado.
Yeah, I probably would just come back on the air and tell everyone where you are.
Oh, I came back. The segment was started, and Mario, being the jerk that he is, did he, take Rob's camera off the stream? No, he left my empty chair on the stream for the world to see.
That's for effect. I mean, that's a good move. That's,
it worked.
That's a sound producer move right there.
I came back into the room. Here's the second worst part of that. It's not that America knew exactly where I was and what I was doing in that moment, in my most vulnerable state. The worst thing was when I came back into the room, because if you've watched the stream, whenever I've streamed from the house, whether it was on this show or the other, you know that the camera shows the majority of the bro cave. So when I came back in the room, the entire world was able to see that Rob Brown goes old school news anchor. That is polo shirt or quarter zip or jersey on top and just straight pajama shorts on the bottom.
Okay, because I was worried we had a TP trailing going.
No.
Okay,
no,
so
I'm
none of
not
that.
that gross.
So you couldn't hear the flush from the open mic.
I'm just gonna go pajama shorts on the bottom, and at risk of getting myself in trouble, you know the old thing about gray sweatpants? That's the kind of pajama shorts I was working. Okay, so if
I don't, and I'm wearing gray
I'll
sweatpants
explain
right
to you
now.
off the air.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, okay.
So I get back in the room, and at this point, I'm like, okay, all right. I've vacated some room. Deck comes to me, he goes, you know what you should do? Chug a Coke, because like you get one of those big stomach clearing burps. I'm like, dude, if I burp, there might be more coming up with it. I can't for sure not do that. Can't promise it. Came back from break, got to 70. I caught a second win. Hit the Kobayashi shake a couple of times.
So that works?
Oh, yeah, dude. I thought it was a joke. It worked like a dream. Hit the Kobayashi shake. Stirred up the cherry Coke Zero that I chugged during the break. Got a good by the way, here's another thing Lonzo would have killed me for. Absolutely unintentionally. You know how sometimes you just burp, like you don't feel it coming. It's just like, oh, there it goes.
Dude, you burp on the show every day. So
yeah, but ordinarily,
like
when I feel it coming, I can like kind of like either disguise it or hit the tactical cough button.
It doesn't work. But nice try.
All right. Well, I ripped one into the mic on nationally syndicated radio.
Yeah, that doesn't.
A show
believe it or
that
not,
is broadcast on televisions in Las Vegas sports books on Super Bowl weekend. Ripped one into the mic and did not feel bad for a second.
The first sports show I did, the operations manager, that's the program director, said, be as nasty and disgusting as you can. So we belched like crazy on that show. So I have an appreciation for that because it's nostalgia for me.
I'll tell you what, it happened and I felt incredible. I was like, let's go. 5 more, no problem.
Were you judged and commended for
Mario looked like he was gonna die.
Okay, all right.
Mario looked like he was going to die when I did it, and he looks like he gave me the look. Mario's not always on the stream. Like, we've got a little software program, and so you have the big box, and then you have down at the bottom the line of boxes that aren't on the screen that are preview.
You mean like Diesel's little box?
Correct.
Okay, all right.
And they're not on the air, but Mario stays on the screen down at the bottom so that he can kind of give us cues or like hold up a sign about what we need to do next or whatever. And he looked into that camera like he was going to kill me for doing that. And I looked at him and went, I don't care, dude. I don't care. I'll do it again.
It wasn't like he could smell it or something.
No,
I mean, if he was in the same room, I mean, you do that here, it might gross me out if I smell something, but if not, I don't care.
Just a rip, man.
I don't know. I'm not even sure the boss would care if you did it here. I'm not suggesting you do it now. I'm just saying I don't, that doesn't bother me like the way you thought it would.
So we hit 70. And I
how much room do you think you made with that? You know, probably
enough.
Just a couple. Okay. All right.
I hit this. I only had 5 more to go. And I shredded the last 5. Finished the last one at the start of the final segment. We had to do all of them on air. They put a chicken nugget counter on the bottom.
By the way, the video, I'm guessing you put that video together before the chicken nugget. That was well done.
Mario
I enjoyed
did that.
It. Yeah.
They put a chicken nugget counter on us, so we had to eat all 75 on the air so that they could tick them off as we go. So we get done, and the fiance and I had made plans to go up to her parents' house. They live up in Anderson, about a 40-minute drive from the house. So we had the plans in place. I get off the air, and she's like, let's go. And I'm like, where? To my grave? I am toast. She's like, no, we got to see my parents. I'm like, oh, I forgot. So I told her, I'm like, you're driving. I'm not driving right now. I'm nugget drunk. I'm not driving. Get in the car, we go up there.
You can be nugget drunk.
Dude,
Did you have the meat sweats?
I caught the meat sweats. I was nugget drunk. It
So
hurt.
you went straight up Usher on your way in.
For sure.
Okay.
We get up to her. Went to her stepdad and mom's house first. I'm just sitting on the couch. It's everything I have to do not to unbutton my jeans on her mom's couch. Just, her stepdad looks at me. He's like, young man, you look terrible. I'm like, yeah, I bet I do. I'm 8 Happy Meals deep. I bet I do. We go to the dad's house, or dad and stepmom's house. And much like my family, everything you do there, it's all food centric, right? It's all food based. If you go up there, you're eating something, even if it's just a little snack around the table. We get there, sit on the couch. They got a new puppy. We're hanging out with the dog, and her dad steps up. He's like, I'm hungry. Everybody's like, all right, let's get some food. I'm like, please don't ask me. Please don't ask me. Please don't ask me. Dead in the face. He's like, Rob, you want some Mexican? Everything I had not to yak.
Oh, come on. It's a change of pace after all the chicken.
It was after all the chicken. None of the rest of that sentence mattered. None of the rest of it. I thought it was going to be fine. I thought we're getting to the end. I'd be like, all right, that was a night hard. Oh, man, I was ready to go. Now, here's the nice part. Woke up Sunday, and the lady friend and I slept in on Sunday, right? We knew it was going to be a long day. We got a little extra Z time in there. Wake up Sunday, check my phone when I get up, and I see that Mario and Cody have been texting in our little group text for like 3 hours already. I'm like, what are these clowns talking about, right? There's no show today. What are they texting about? Dex says, dude, I've enjoyed working with you guys. I think I'm going to die. Mario goes, I have been in a hot sauna for an hour just trying to sweat it out.
Really?
Yeah.
He went with hot sauna.
He went with
Okay.
hot sauna to try to sweat it
He
out.
does have California hair, so you could just picture him in the sauna.
Listen, I'm team sauna. If you've never done a sauna before, it's a game changer. All right.
When I think sauna, I think mafia. So
No.
I can't really go in there.
I am team sauna. They are fantastic. These two dudes were not good on Sunday. We're not good. I texted Cody. I'm like, hey, there's no show. No need to be dramatic. He's like, Rob Brown. I went to the gym. Cody's like I said, twice a day gym guy, every day without fail. He's like, I went to the gym. I walked in. I was in pain putting on my shoes. I'm done. I'm roasted. I'm out. He goes, I've been sweating salt water for like a day now. Can't do it. I woke up Sunday, and you know what I did? I rolled out of bed, and I cut myself a slice of king cake for breakfast. I was back, baby. Knocked down some pizza and wings at the party last night. I was back. Deck just texted me about an hour ago and goes, I am not okay. I'm still not okay. At what point do I get to call him out for being weak?
Yesterday?
Yesterday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. This is an athlete, an elite athlete. I mean, someone who's made it to the highest level that you can get in his sport, and he can't handle a few nuggets. I mean, I think you gotta you gotta do, especially Saturday.
Dude, you played Major League Baseball, and you are telling me that Randy Johnson didn't take you out. McDonald's did. And by the way, I want you all to know, I am a fan of the McDonald's nuggets. I'm a fan. They are absolutely a top-notch nugget. I thought I was going to walk away from that going, if I never see a chicken nugget again in my life, I'll be good with it. I'm straight. I'm good. I am right back on Team Nugget. No questions. No questions. We're good. All right.
So you're saying if someone rolled up in here with a 20-piece?
I'd hammer a 20-piece right now.
Okay.
I'd hammer a 20-piece right now. Now, I did utilize this weekend as like my grand send-off because I'm now sitting all over. I'm at like 209 days till I get hitched.
By the way, if you keep starting this thing, you're never going to get where you need to go.
I know. But here's the good news. By the time I was done with last night, between 75 nuggets, half of a king cake, a medium pizza, and like 20 wings last night, I feel like that had to be the send-off. It just had to be the send-off. Texter said, my stomach is a war zone this morning. So many different items. barbecue chicken, buffalo chicken, gumbo, Philly cheesesteak, nachos, sausage dip, strawberry cheesecake, brownies, cookies, pretzels, and about 9 Budweisers.
I'm going to drink a lot of beer tonight, Jim. Budweiser.
I made my best wings ever yesterday. I was so excited. They taste so good. It's like, should I just never do it again? Because I can't top it. And it was just ranch wings, but I put some olive oil on there, and it just cooked perfect with the ranch, with the right mix of everything. And I took that first bite and was like, wow.
Yo, I'm still team wings. I'm still team wings. I'm still team nugget. I'm still team pizza. I just got to get my life together. But absolutely worth it.
We put a treadmill right over there. we could do that. Dude. We got space.
I'm not that committed. All right. Let's take a break. When we come back here in a minute, we got a few more sports things we need to talk about. Hey, remember back all the way 5 weeks ago when the NFL put a playoff game on a subscription streaming service? And I said, don't waste your breath complaining about it because this is the new normal. Well, guess what? I was right again. We'll talk about that more when we come back on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Hammered some wings last night. Hammered some pizza.
Last I checked, wings and nuggets are both chicken.
They are. I shockingly and surprisingly am still team chicken for sure.
Meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki on the Fan Upstate. Currently, it's 57.
And now, Mark Ryan's Morning Sports Spin, powered by Ingles. Low prices, love the savings.
So, my friends, why don't we check in on our annual Coach's Hot Seat rating list, scale of 1 to 10. 10 means you're fired. 1 means you're landing in baby's arms. Dave Aranda, Baylor, 8. Chip Kelly, looking for an NFL job now, 8. Clark Lee, Vanderbilt, 6. Dabo Sweeney, I say 3, not a 1. What do you think about that, Clemson fans? Shane Beamer, 4. Mario Cristobal, Miami, 6. Posterior is a little bit smoky there. Billy Napier, 7. Lincoln Riley, 7.
Nothing that better than the deviled egg that's been sitting there 2 hours.
It's time to start planning your next job.
Hey, room temperature, it's fine. There's nothing like walking down the hallway and out of the corner of your eye, you see your own snarky self just holding the trophy and just looking a certain way. Like a real cowboy, not like a millennial cowboy. Well, I can't say it anymore. The mustache. I mean, have you seen the mustache? Have you gotten caught up yet?
No.
To see the mustache yet?
I'm not.
I mean, that's all he needed the entire time. If he had a mustache from the beginning, I probably never would have made fun of him.
I just want him to slowly morph into Gene Hackman from The Quick and the Dead. What? There was a Western. Somebody help me out. There was a Western with Kurt Russell and Samuel L. Jackson.
Wait, Samuel L. Jackson was in a Western?
Yes, with Kurt Russell and it's Kurt Russell, Sam Jackson. Fred the Super Cat, a throwback to Rob Brown's Florida days. Been a minute, dude. How
The
you
Hateful
doing?
Eight.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's it.
So it was a Tarantino thing?
Yes.
That's why I didn't watch it, because
Yes.
it's like, if F-bombs were
And I
money,
want-
you'd be a millionaire in a Tarantino movie.
Dude, I love that movie. And I want to see Hangman just become Kurt Russell from The Hateful Eight.
Did he have the Selleck mustache? See, that's
He
the thing.
had like the big.
Oh,
like,
okay. Actually, I do
dramatic
remember
stash.
seeing that now. I remember seeing the previews. So I'm trying to decide what day.
I think I had 55 taquitos last night. I'm going to tell you, taquitos are dangerous because you can pop down 50 of them before you go, oh, I'm full now. And then it's too late. You've done the damage. My goal with the Nuggets was to get down as many as I could as quickly as I could. The problem was that even trying to I only microwaved one plate. The rest I went cold because I was hosting a show. So it's not like you can eat them fast enough that they're still warm by the end of the segment. So
you're just reheating over and over again. And then,
So I think I did 35 in the first hour. And I was like, I'm good. And then I did like 5 more to open the second hour. But because we had that break between the hour and the top of the next hour, it hit that I was full. And I'm like, oh, no. Because I still had 30 to go.
What kind of air fryer do you have? Is it portable enough that you could have brought it in there? And
I absolutely could
and
have.
just had it in the background.
And I thought about that at about the 55, 60 nugget mark. I'm like, I could have brought the air fryer in here. Because my whole thing about not warming them up was even if you keep it heated, like it takes 5-6 minutes in the air fryer, we have 4.5 minute breaks. So it's like, I'm just going to have lukewarm nuggets.
Which are better than cold, I think.
It didn't matter because I did both. The other thing was, it wasn't the eating them. It was the fact that the more you did it, it was exhausting. The chewing, like they got drier and drier as you went.
So there was no mental aspect to it going, okay, I can't believe I still have 20 something more to go.
So here's what I did. I cut them. I stacked them into the plate twice. So I came in with the first one where I had, 33 and then the second one, 32, whatever the numbers are. And so the last plate, I just had the second half of the nuggets mounted. And every time I took one, as I could see more of the bottom of the plate, it was like my mental encouragement. It still sucked. Wesley said, have you scheduled your doctor's appointment yet? Now, I'll tell you what I probably needed to schedule after bathroom trip number 3 last night was an exorcist. It's probably what I should have got on the phone
Now,
line.
Rob Brown, at your age, a good BM is there's nothing wrong with a good BM. Now, you go in there and you let things go as they will, and you come out, you feel refreshed.
Oh, things went as they will, bud. For sure. For sure. All right. Couple of news stories, couple of interesting stories that went down outside of football, where your Kansas City Chiefs are now back-to-back champs and looking for the three-peat.
I'm kind of sad. I got to put the Chiefs gear away.
No, you don't. Why? You're champs. Rock it off season.
Nah, I mean, football season's over. Put the gear away until draft week, and then bring it back out.
Oh, dude, I'm gonna tell you right now, when the Saints won their Lombardi Trophy back in 2009, I don't think I didn't wear Saints gear for the all the way till the next year's Super Bowl.
I get that after your first one, but I don't know if you knew, I know how it's going to sound, but
I get it after your first one.
Because I was that way after the first one, because I went 50 years with never seeing my team do something and finally did. And it's like, yeah, I need to keep this going. Now, I mean, when you're in the middle of a dynasty,
Rudy Poo candy ass.
Okay, I guess it's
not the one I wanted to
I guess it's acceptable to play him now since things have been fixed to a degree.
I owe you an apology. I wasn't really familiar with your game.
I love Shaq. Fight Club's going to be lit on Thursday, by the way. Lit on Thursday. I haven't gotten through it, but Triple H going, it doesn't matter if you don't like the decision.
It was it's also about his delivery too. Yeah.
Perfect. Former New York Mets general manager Billy Epler suspended through the 2024 World Series on Friday by Rob Manfred, who concluded that he directed the team to fabricate injuries to open up roster spots. No Mets medical or athletic training personnel were mentioned in the announcement by MLB, but Manfred said in a statement that Epler, quote, directed the deliberate fabrication of injuries and the associated submission of documentation for the purposes of securing multiple improper injured list placements during the 2022-23 season.
Hey, you. You look injured to me. Looks like a toe. You got a toe.
You can tell the world that your arm's broke, or I can make you tell the world your arm's broke. The scheme involved fabricating injuries for up to a dozen players, according to ESPN's Jesse Rogers. Sources said that an anonymous letter from within the organization tipped off MLB. Epler said he, quote, cooperated fully and transparently with MLB's investigation, and I will accept their decision. Yeah, because you got, what's the word I'm looking for here? Caught doing that thing.
Girl.
The Mets have been informed of the conclusion of Major League Baseball's investigation with Billy Epler's resignation on October 5th. And with David Stearns leading the baseball operations team, the Mets considered the matter closed and will have no further comment. I just love that this dude got away with this for this long.
So
it's impressive.
So is there a number where he could have done this and wouldn't have got that?
0.
Okay, no,
zero.
that's what I wanted to know.
There has been, and it has a lot to do with the collective bargaining for both the NFL and the MLB and the NBA, frankly, basically every pro league, of forcing players to fabricate injuries. There's been a big discussion about that. The Chiefs, and again, Kadarius Toney right now, right? Like I promise you this discussion's going to come back up, because the Chiefs for a while there, when Toney was on the injury report, he came on that IG Live and said he wasn't. And then all of a sudden he gets healthy scratched before this one. It makes everybody turn a raised eyebrow back towards the other regular season and playoff games where he was listed on the injury.
All right. First of all, no one's turning an eyebrow when they put him on a healthy scratch. And you're like, yeah, because you want to win.
No, it wasn't that
you
was
win.
scratched.
No, I get it.
That he was scratched and came out and said, "Oh no, I wasn't I wasn't hurt."
Well, so that will come down to interviewing the team doctors and them proving that he was hurt. I mean, and I guess that's pretty easy to do to a degree.
Yeah, I wish him the best.
But in this case, for the baseball thing, so how much did this have to happen for them to put a rule in there to stop it from happening further?
Like I said, it's been a rule that the injury report is not for roster designations. Basically, can't do this. It's a big deal. So I am not shocked that Epler is not in the league anymore, because that's what would have been the ramification for this, to the point that I at this point almost have to suspect the reason that he was, or the reason he terminated his own employment, was because this investigation was in the works.
I thought you said he got suspended, so he
quit.
He quit
back in October. He resigned.
Okay, all right.
And my suspicion is this is now why. We know that now. Texter said, Rob, can we talk about how absolutely out of control the waste management has gotten? Yes, we can, Texter, because we talk about all the sports on the Rob Brown Show. It's a sports show. I will tell you.
I follow Shooter McGavin on no, it's not really the Shooter, but it's a fake account.
Shooter.
And one of the golfers was yelling at them, and he posted the video and said, "Go back to your shanties." I was dying.
I had to hit it off of Frankenstein's fat foot. The waste management has been for years one of my favorite tournaments of the year. And for years, it has been one of the favorite tournaments of a lot of the younger golfers on the tour. But this year, something happened. And I wondered how and why it happened.
I'm going to blame AEW.
I'm not. I'll tell you who I am going to blame. The influencer generation.
Blame Canada. Oh, okay.
I'm not blaming Canada. Canada had nothing to do with this. I'm blaming the influencer generation, and here's why. For many, many years, the waste management was a haven for golf fans who love golf. It was a haven for golf fans who understood golf. It was a haven for golf fans who said, hey, golf can be fun. We can allow it to be fun, which is why you had the caddy races and the beer showers whenever a dude would knock down an ace, and the celebrations.
Okay, they weren't actual showers; they were just people pouring stuff.
Beer in there.
Okay, all right, okay. Well, I didn't know.
It was fun, and it was fun because it was golf fans cutting loose. It was golf fans who understood golf. What you would see at the 16th, which is the Coliseum hole. If you haven't seen it, it's incredible. The golfers walk through a tunnel onto the tee, and the entire hole is surrounded by grandstands. And it is an absolute rager of a party. But if you go back up before this year and you watch the Waste Management, what you would notice is that unless they specifically asked for it, and some golfers did, the people watching this tournament understood it was still golf. And so while they would lose their collective and entire, if a guy stuck 1 to 6 inches or aced out, while they would lose their mind over that, it was still a bunch of people who understood golf, who got golf, who were not talking in the backswing unless the golfer called for it. We're not screaming, get in the hole, as soon as the guy lifted his driver on 16 or whatever it was. It was a bunch of dudes out there who understood the game. And I hate to say it because this is one of those phrases that turns people off the golf, the etiquette of the sport in question. But I think what has happened is this: the Waste Management got real big. And why wouldn't it? It was a blast. It was a fun event because it was a bunch of golf fans that finally had an event that was more about the fans than any other tournament, right? No other tournament is about the fans. And the Waste Management always was. And I think what ended up happening is this event went from a golf tournament that was about the fans, and it turned into a tournament where the fans thought it was about them. Here's what I mean. It used to be you drank a bunch of beers on 16. Whenever a guy stuck one within 6 inches, everybody collectively lost their minds. We all had a good time. And when it was time for him to try to knock in the birdie, everybody shut up until he did. And then we all lost our minds again. And now it is turned into, and I'm going to go full boomer here, full get off my yard here. It is turned into a fan base of people who want the TikTok clout. They want the Instagram clout. They want the Twitter clout. Billy Horschel was playing with a Monday qualifier, a guy who got in, effectively an amateur who got in at the last moment. This was the biggest golf tournament of this man's life. This is a multi-million-dollar purse if he wins it. And he goes to line up, not on 16, not on the Coliseum hole, on a different hole, and a guy screams at him in his backswing. You don't do that. Unless the golfer specifically raises the hand, and some guys have done this. They pump up the crowd before their shot. It's fun for them. You don't just scream in a guy's backswing. Even at the Waste Management, even in that tournament, you don't do it. You wait till he hits the ball, and then you scream your dumb catchphrase, mashed potatoes, or whatever.
So if you're that amateur, that's on you. You picked this tournament to qualify.
You don't pick, this is the one you qualified for. He probably tries to qualify for all the tournaments. He just got in.
Yeah, but if you're going to be worried about that, don't try to qualify for that particular tournament because you know what it's famous for. And so
that's the thing. It is not famous for that. It is famous for you hit your golf shot and then they go bananas when you hit a great golf shot, not you got dudes blasting you while you're in the backswing of a golf swing.
Because from things that were said last week and have been said in the past, I thought that it was all fair game, that it was Happy Gilmore, and it's basically all it was for the entire thing.
No, it is very much a spot where if you hit a great shot that lands on the green, everybody's going to lose their collective you-know-what. But nobody screams in the backswing until this year. It got so bad at this tournament, and this is why I am heartbroken. I am heartbroken. I have always wanted to go to the Waste Management. Always. It is fine to knock back a handful of shots and brewskis and cut a little loose and have some fun, but you've still got to, this is not a football game. You have still got to respect the etiquette of the game while also collectively not doing any of it.
But all the things you're talking about are not part of the etiquette of the game. So how can you respect it when you add all that stuff in?
You don't yell in a guy's backswing. I don't care
No,
where you are.
I'm talking about the craziness and all the drinking and everything. It doesn't, I've never heard of that anywhere else except for here. So it's not part of the etiquette. It's not part of the game. So you're expecting people to do something that they would do other places and act differently here?
Yes and no at the same time.
Okay, when I normally do this stuff, I'm at a football game, so I act this way.
Correct. Imagine this. If you are at a football game and a guy scores a touchdown, you pop off and lose your mind, right? Imagine it is 3rd and 9 with 3 seconds on the clock. You got to score a touchdown. Your offense is in the huddle, and your stadium is all collectively screaming and shouting and yelling and playing their fight song and blasting music on the speakers. You'd be like, what are we doing? This is not the time for this. Be quiet so that they can communicate before they run the play.
You mean every Sunday in Panther Stadium?
All 43 of them.
When the visiting team is louder than
that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. No, it is absolutely a spot where you get to pretend the golf tournament is a football game. There are still spots. And
I won't let you take my Panther joke away from me. It was a good one.
I'm not trying to.
Just because you didn't get it.
There is a spot in the game where you still have to respect the game. And when it got to the point that when you got to the pot that you had the Waste Management Open decide we have to cut off alcohol, that is the spot where you have taken the fun away from a very special tournament. That is the spot where you have taken the fun out of what is supposed to be the most fun tournament on the
How
game.
should they have handled it then?
Start kicking people the hell out.
Okay.
Start kicking.
All right.
The minute that a guy's in his backswing and you yell mashed potatoes at him in the backswing, you're gone.
Sorry, mashed potatoes.
You're gone.
This is pretty funny.
That's the phrase.
I mean, when you're sitting there thinking, okay, what can I do to heckle this guy? Mashed potatoes.
That has become a phrase of, again, people who are trying to get them to use a Shivani take. That's when the crowd's trying to get itself over. Again, wrestling, kind of the same thing. A crowd being super into a match and loud and alive and popping to where they get noticed on TV, that's one thing. It is a totally different thing when they are doing it to get themselves over instead of the show itself. When you are actively hurting the show just to get yourself over, that's where it's bad. This golf audience, to put it in the terms Lonzo can understand, was trying to get itself over to the detriment of the performers.
Thank you for going where
You're very welcome. That's
I
what I'm here
appreciate that. And I did get it before, but that painted the picture even more clearly.
You're welcome. So I think that's a huge bummer, man. I think it's a huge bummer that they let it get to that point because it's the best. Now, Texture says, as an avid golfer and a watcher of golf, it's one hole at one tournament. Golfers need to deal with it just once. They know it's coming. Here's the problem. Yes, you are correct. Here's the problem. The problem is that the biggest golfers are going to stop coming to this tournament, right? You're going to end up with this tournament being effectively a glorified amateur tournament. You're going to end up losing the mystique because the guys like Fowler and Scheffler, they're not going to show what you already lost half of them to the Live Tour. And the ones you still have on this tour are going to stop showing up. It's got to have a baseline of control.
Tune it out, professional. You're out there. You're a professional. Tune it out.
That's not how it works.
I mean, yeah, sure it is. Tune it out. You get paid a lot of money. Tune it out.
Yeah, again, that's not how it
You're
works.
proper.
No, keep going.
Oh, what a
keep
great...
talking. Keep talking. Oh, tune it out. No, you would.
What a great
You
shot.
would. Yeah, if the golfers had a slider on the crowd, they'd be able to do it too, wouldn't they? That's the point.
So you're laughing at saying I would use the tools that.
Yes, correct.
I mean,
So all of that being said, I love this tournament. I'm going to, hopefully it comes back, but Joey B just nailed it. And this is the problem I have, like, for instance, and then I'll shut up because we got to go to a break. This is the problem that I have with, like, golf social media right now. It went from a bunch of entertaining and interesting looks at the game that you can't get from the game, and it is now turned into a bunch of people on social media who think that they are all the funniest person there. And then there's a bunch of the funniest persons there who think, oh, now I got to be funnier than that guy. Oh, now I got to be funnier than that guy. Oh, now I got to be funnier than that guy. And it creates a situation where everybody trying to one-up each other for attention has led to the downfall of this tournament. Joey B absolutely nailed that. It's a bunch of people all trying to get more attention than the other people, and it takes away from the product, which should be the focus itself. I didn't know I was going to do a golf hot take today, but here we are. Hey, here's a hot take. We're late for the break on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Yeah, sorry about Invisible Rob there. That's on me.
It happens daily. I don't know why. It's so weird. Gotta be a technical reason.
I had to change the tip on my stylus twice during the show Saturday because I dropped it twice and it landed straight down twice and it bent it. So that sucked.
Hey, it's Tom Kenny, the voice of sport.
Wow. I should go home after that one. I'm going to blame that on being sleepy. Or maybe I'll just blame it on you. Yeah, that Rob. It's always going to sites that automatically start playing.
Viva, Viva.
By the way, Zach, a lot of people didn't know the rules. I didn't know the rules till they explained it. I knew they had changed them, but I didn't know what the rules were. And this is only, the second time in history that it's gone to overtime?
Second time.
Yeah, so, I mean.
I am going to say, I'm going to go full Lonzo here. That's on you, dog.
Yeah, it is.
That's on you.
Do you think all the Chiefs knew? Maybe they did.
That's on you.
Maybe they didn't. So it's like when you're training on this job and something goes wrong, there's no way you can train everybody about every possible thing that could happen in this job until it goes wrong, and then you tell them how to fix it. They could have trained them on overtime, and it's one of those things where
I disagree with that. Dynamic situations in the game happen. The rules of overtime were written down before the game started. There's no reason not.
Right, I didn't know, Joe, and except for when the referee explained it at the beginning.
They had who was it? Jay Feely explain it before they even went to it.
I thought the referee explained it wrong.
Then Vinovich brought it up. Also, Bill Vinovich, you're not off the hook. I ever see you, it's on site, dog.
There were some missed things there, going against the Chiefs and some phantom things, and I'm thinking, okay. Rob is very
the script.
Yes.
Check us out at repairclinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com. Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK.
Even if they didn't know, so what? I mean, did that affect how they played in the overtime? Oh yeah, the old lady's Doritos commercial I thought was pretty good too. The Spanish thing reminded me of that. All right, it is time for me to ask Rob what the X is going on, and he will tell all of us, regale us, wow, and amaze us when he explains why.
That's what I
it's
do.
Xing.
That's what I do.
The first thing that's Xing is rigged.
All right. Why are we still doing this? So,
by the way, really quick, the second thing that's Xing is scripted.
Yeah. Okay. Good Lord, I am going full boomer on the show today. There is this mindset that is for whatever reason grasping a very large subset of America that if it's not the way I want it to be, obviously there's some dark shadowy they out there that's
America.
making it go the other way. right? It can't just be that I was wrong or that I don't get everything I want or that maybe I'm in the minority in this particular thought process. No. There's always they, and they always finds a way to put their thumb on the table in the opposite direction. It couldn't just be that maybe the Kansas City Chiefs were better prepared with a good enough team, better coach, didn't blow it in big-time situations. No. It has to be that Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift made this happen. Guys, there's no they. There's no script. It's not rigged. The Chiefs were a better football team last night. And I'll tell you, if you rerun that game back today, there's a very good chance San Francisco might win the rematch, okay? It's not scripted. It's not rigged. You got one crack at it. That's it. And they blew it. It's not scripted. It's not rigged. There's no they. You were just wrong, bro. And it happens.
It sounds like the sort of thing you'd hear on a show that picked San Francisco to win. Well, we'll see. All right. The next thing that's Xing is roid rage.
That's why Travis tackled
That's
Reed. Is that
that's why it's trending. Yes, they're saying that was roid rage. I've seen roid rage. It does not end that nice. It definitely does not end that nice. I saw roid rage to the point where a guy like took a fire extinguisher and broke off the bottom half of the RA's door and crawled through, forcing him to jump out the second story window. That's roid rage. What he did last night, he was passionate. He bumped his coach. He shouldn't have did it. Shouldn't have gotten in his face, but it wasn't roid rage. Oh, you think it's roid rage?
No. I think it's roid rage. I was just going to say I think it was a real bad look from Trav.
Oh, it was. Absolutely. I'm not defending what he did.
Real bad
You
look.
should never get in your coach's face for anything. That's yelling at your boss. You should not do that. But he did, and it's out there, and we will forever have memes from it. I am grateful for that because there's been some pretty good ones. All right, the next thing that's Xing, unfortunately, is Tom Brady.
I'm going to start with the BetMGM Tom Brady commercial was great. I love that there was an entire commercial featuring Vince Vaughn that revolved around the concept of Tom Brady.
Yeah, I was going to say Tom Brady had a good night.
Tom Brady had a real good night. He was in a commercial with J-Lo, Matt, and Ben. He was in one with Vince.
By that way, that one
Gronk.
that also had Jack Harlow and Fatboy Slim in it, which I didn't know.
FanDuel. The commercial with Carl Weathers in it.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I know you likely filmed and produced and had that thing ready to go before he passed away.
Well, yeah.
I appreciate
There's
you
no
sticking
likely they did. I mean,
okay, obviously.
Yeah.
I appreciate you sticking the Carl Weathers RIP tag on the end of it, but I wasn't ready.
Yeah, in the comments that he missed the kick because Carl passed before it just
And you couldn't even RIP it. You could have pulled the piece from Happy Gilmore of Carl up in the sky. You could have put him up. You could have put Chubbs up there.
Yeah, I'm sure Adam Sandler would have agreed to that. All right, and finally, last thing, Marvel Jesus.
Deadpool. Cannot wait, dude. Cannot wait. The amount of wall breaking in one. Oh, I can't wait. Packing doesn't scare me.
We had to explain to my wife last night why she cannot go with us to see it.
That's good call. Miss Lisa, don't take that from Lonzo. You go with him.
She did.
You go with him to that movie.
No, we kept her away from the first two.
No.
She's definitely not seeing the third
Miss
one.
Lisa, you go with Lonzo to see that movie.
Don't you do that. I mean, stop it. All right. Well, let's just go away.
All right, how about for 20 hours or so? Back here tomorrow to do it all over again, but better for Lonzo. I'm Rob. Y'all have a great, lovely, enjoyable rest of your Monday. We'll see you back here tomorrow on the Rob Brown Show with the Fan Upstate later. Yeah!
Yeah, the look on Cameron's face is like, no, Mom, you cannot. It's just like, no, you can't go. And I was like, all you will do is sit there and look at me and him and judge us for watching the movie the entire time. And Hugh Jackman is probably going to be worse than anybody else in the entire thing.
Oh, he's going to be awful, and I can't wait. I mean awful in the best kind of way.
good to see Bob was in there though. That's his name, right? Bob. Yeah.
The greatest character in Marvel history.
Although in the comic books, because I was reading up on sidekicks, and and I think I do have him in the thing. Actually I do. He is in the brackets as a sidekick. Bob was a low-level Hydra agent that Deadpool turned to his side. So
Bob's a fantastic character and would not work for anybody but Deadpool, but he was so good. I'm very excited about it.
And they got the same actor too.
I am shocked at the prevalence of the TVA.
But it makes good sense. It makes perfect sense.
The interesting thing is how very clear how okay they are with the number of Disney references from Deadpool, right? Packing doesn't scare me, but it does scare Disney. Like, phenomenal. Although I don't know if
admittedly, I didn't get that. I figured it was a sexual reference. No.
Packing weapons, pulling guns, and
okay. I took it as something else.
No.
Okay, all right.
So, I love the reference. I love going heavy into the TVA out of the gate. I think that's great. But somebody made the point that, and I think this is probably fair. Does Deadpool end up is this like the crossover point between the Disney MCU and the Sony portions of Marvel? Is Deadpool the bridge?
Yeah, that's what
he's got to be.
Yeah,
right? And what a great bridge to use Deadpool to pull those two universes together.
Well, he did say the Marvel universe as you know it is dead, or whatever he said. Yeah. Or he's going to fix it. That's what he said. He's going to fix it.
My favorite comic book of all time is Deadpool Kills the MCU. Or the MCU. It's Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe. Which is just Deadpool chapter by chapter hunting down and murdering every Marvel character. And it's incredibly well written. And it ends, not to spoiler, but it's been out for 2 decades now. The last page, Deadpool realizes that he can't finish that story unless he kills the person writing and drawing the comic book, and so he does. And it's so well done. All right, dudes and dudettes. That's what I think. I think this is your crossover bridge from Sony and Marvel finally pulling it together. And I'm here for it. I'm very here for it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you're all spectacular people. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We'll be back tomorrow and progressively working our way towards basketball season. Have a great day. Goodbye.
I just thought about Kevin for some reason because near the end –